took a moment to find myself. Welcome in, everybody. How are you doing out there on this Saturday night? Did I get it right? Let's check and see. I did. It's a Saturday night. Y'all, welcome in. I feel a little refreshed. I was bored. I was bored. Things can go south when I get bored. The weekend alone, the boys took off. So I was like, well, I'm just here with the animals chilling. I was going to go over and watch another live stream, but it had to get canceled. And it kind of inspired me to go ahead and do this stream. So we're going to get into it. Two of my mods are here right now with us. Rachel's here and Butterfly are here. Thank you for being here. Carolina, my hero, welcome in. Tricia, Moore's dog mom, welcome in. You guys, how are y'all doing? You can't scare a mama bear. No, you cannot. There's no truer statement on the planet. Thank you for going back over Joe's terrible behavior a few months before the HTC crap. I emailed Kresha warning her something felt off about him. Good for you. No, it wasn't just you. I've just was speaking about that the other day. Some things some of us were noticing, and without naming other creators and friends, a couple of co-hosts that I would have or had concerns. Joe and I had also been on another creators panel before, and there were concerns, and the red flags were starting to pop up. You know what I mean? I never knew what to say or how to say it. You know what I mean? I don't know I just had a feeling, and I wasn't sure, and I did warn Joe, not warn. I gave advice to Joe when he began to talk about victim's family member. Tread lightly, sir. That's a victim's family member. We see how well that went. I always had to wonder once I learned, was it a Mormon thing? Because I always felt confused after, and I expressed that to him one time during a conversation. He was doing these shows with Kresha, the Pace memo and the this and the that. And I felt confused half the time when I left. I'm like, dude, I'm not sure what's going on. What do you mean? Am I supposed to lean toward blaming LDS and their teachings for what could have led to Lori and Chad's bullshit? Or am I not supposed to blame them because, yeah, they're bad, but not that bad? Huh? Because according to you and Megan, Joe Schmo, they're bad, but not that bad. Not that bad, right? Bad, but not that bad. Gotcha. All right, we'll unpack some of that here tonight. Because when ex-Mormons find one another on the internet, thanks to Lori Vallow, Daybell, whatever the fuck her name is these days, they bond tightly. And Penny, dreadful Penny, this one's for you. Rest up, honey. I was going to chill in your chat tonight and just be there for it because you're really good at picking apart Miss Megan. So I feel like you'll understand her. Anyway, y'all, can I just be shady lady tonight? Can I just be petty like the rest of the internet? Can we? Can I? I'm being a little sarcastic now. It's okay. It's all right. Let me compose myself. Oh, I get it, Carolina. I'm not blaming LDS for a damn thing. I need to make this incredibly clear. I haven't done organized religion since I was a child. I felt like internally, I always felt like whatever my walk with that higher power was personal and not based on what a bunch of people told me, but what that good book should tell all of us, right? So I always tried to separate, and I found it weird because every religion has their own brand of follow me, right? Do it this way. So I always pulled back from all of that part of it, but I'm an incredibly spiritual person. So A lot of times, though, a lot of these organized religions can be dangerous, right? Their teachings can be dangerous. But that doesn't mean everybody falls prey to it. It doesn't mean everybody lives on the fringe, right? Just because, you're Baptist or Southern Baptist don't mean you beat your babies with the belt. You Bible thumping assholes beating on them babies. No, no, no. Well, maybe some. We can't say they don't, but it ain't just in the dirty South, right? We got mothers who harm their children in the name of the Lord. Lori Vallow's not the only one that did it. That Ruth lady did it too in the lake. Her husband thought he could swim for days for Jesus, and she said a fish swallowed him. A giant fish swallowed him, and the cop tried to tell her, "No, ma'am, we don't have those kind of fish in that lake." I saw it with my own eyes. Sacrificed her little baby in the name of Jesus. Amen. So there's always a danger to some of that religion. And if we look at what Chad and Lori were doing, and I'm not about to go down that damn road because God knows it's been hashed a billion times on the internet. And no one's figured it out yet. Don't know if they'll ever get there, but praise the Lord for those who are trying. And the only one I'll ever watch try is Kresha. She's the only one that deserves my attention when it comes to that. But something led them where their baseline of thought, right? And then they went astray. What does the church do when people go astray? Do they turn a blind eye? Do they ignore it? Do they send them to temple and pray it all away? You know what I mean? We can't ignore sometimes the religious aspects that play into some of these things. Just like we can no longer ignore mental health playing a part in some of these mothers harming their children. So we're going to evaluate some things with an open mind tonight, guys. Because my walk on this earth as an empath, Megan Connor, has been a struggle my entire life. And I was 7 years old when I realized what was happening, ma'am. So when you sit up here and you preach to the masses about some stuff you learned on Facebook that one time and said, "Oh, that's me. That describes me. I track those bad guys. I think I'm going to fix them because I'm an empath. That's why. I play follow the leader to other women and beg for their attention like older cousins. That's why I'm an empath. That's right. That little seminar I took on Facebook, or that whatever that was I attended that one time, told me that. Is that where all that started, Megan, your journey to healing? Or did it start when you were trying to get away from the LDS? And I found something interesting when I was reviewing that today that I totally forgot about. It's like, damn, I actually forgot she said that. If you felt like most of your childhood you didn't conform to what you were being taught, and you knew you was going to step away from that probably, and you eventually did, why, when you had children, you decide to go back and put them through the same trauma you claim you suffered your entire life? Have they healed as well? Asking for a friend. Did you help them on the journey with your, is it programs? I'm not sure. Anyway, Penny's, giving me a lot to think about. And I've seen some things said that just blows my mind. Because, Megan, I didn't study her as that hard girl. Here we go again with the high horse Megan, putting all the rest of the women in the room down, and they don't even seem to realize it, because none of us can be her. We haven't went through the journey and took that deep look at ourselves and did all the hard work to get there. None of us have done that. We are bitter, confused, lonely, scared, jealous. She's described us in many ways. And then it certainly blew us all away. If it shouldn't, I mean, damn well should have. It blew me into kingdom fucking come when that girl sat on the live stream and said that she would speak to, her Kresha and Kay need to be quiet. I'll speak to them offline about how I feel. Girl, I would have been waiting on that phone call. I don't speak for no one but myself. Just like if I had been Christy Gonzalez and you had been WSU Mom Kim, there would have been a knock on the motherfucking door, bitch. Hey, hey, girl, hey. Hey, I got bail money, do you? Anyway, I'm going to lose track on that WSU Mom chick. Hey, Kim, invitation's always open for an interview if you're down. And if it's okay with, I mean, if you need to be comfortable and you just need to have a sip or two, we can play the drinking game while you're here. After we get done with the interview, of course. We need you to, God, we need a straight Kim. But then we can cut loose with the I'm a mom, drink until you drop party, right? All right, let's do that. One day, I live for that interview. I don't think I'll leave the internet until that interview comes. I might come back as a ghost one day. Y'all watch out. Ghost Salty in the house. Where's those pirate flags? Huh. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Summer's email to Penny was insightful. Summer, you were probably the most misunderstood person in this whole fiasco. You couldn't help who your fucking sister is, right? I get it. I got sisters. We can't help who they are. We just can't help who they are. Jesus Christ. What we choose to do with them in the future when we grow up's our business, right? Hell, I love my sisters most of the time. Anyway, I'm going to get completely sidetracked and talked about my personal life a little too much and give people ammunition and rebuttal videos to come, and maybe not. Some folks are chicken. All right. No, we don't need to go there. Okay, hold on. Stop. Let's start over. I don't need to stoop to levels, Megan. I need to stay focused. I got to stay focused. If my tools that I've learned over the decades haven't taught me anything, my trauma that I went through, Megan, to get here today, the woman I am today as I sit here on this internet running my mouth, it took a long time to get here. And I'm quite proud of her. And that one time I said I did that throat chakra work, and I took it a little too seriously, and the floodgates opened, and sometimes my honesty's a little too much. And I try to gently remind myself of that because I get it, girl. So we won't bully. Joe, you're safe. Safe place for you ex-Mormons. Right, Joe? Y'all need a safe place to land, and you found one in Megan Connor. So let's let everybody know. Let's get there. This is an old stream. Fair use, Joe Schmo. Don't strike me the way Lauren did you and then throw a fit about it, because I'll come throw a fit about it just like you did. I'll go live and tell everybody how Joe Schmo struck me because I commentated on his and another Mormon's take on Mormonism. I'm just going to comment on their take on Mormonism and what it did to them. Okay? That's all. I'm just evaluating the trauma their religion caused them. I don't know really what's going to happen. I mean, no disrespect to anybody or any religions for that matter. Hey, if you love Jesus, do it. We're supposed to. Here's what I say about heaven. There are people who are there, allegedly, that I want to see again one day. So if all of that exists, I need to do whatever I can do to get there, right? Right? What if it really exists and I've done everything but what I should to get there? I'm going to wait to that one day when I knock on the pearly gates. He's like, "What's up, girl? You got some splaining to do." Oh, shit. This is really real? Damn. I did take it a little too far at times, Jesus, I'm sorry. You know, all that. So I don't care. Do you? This ain't about all that for me at the moment. Like I said, I don't explore Chad and Lori's reasons for doing what they do anymore. There was a time I would talk about it, but I don't anymore. But I can talk about this stuff. Hold on, let's get to them. Did I? Hang on. I don't even know if I did this right today. I think I forgot a step that I usually do here. Oh, wait. Uh, I did it right. Never mind. I was joking. I had the woo woo happen for a moment, guys. You know, I spent the day cleaning my house and just enjoying the peace and the fact that I live in a clean home that's bug free in Florida. It's such a nice thing because I love clean. Like my mind likes clean, right? I like minimalist, small spaces and things like that. God, it feels good to sit in a clean home. And I don't got to cover up my coffee with saran wrap or a lid or anything. So nice. Maybe one day when I get like super old, I can hire a young girl to come tidy up for me when I can't one day. Maybe. Y'all want to contribute to the old lady in the old lady fund or something? I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm sorry. I was being a complete smartass when I did that. Do not drop links. Don't do it, mods. I was fucking joke. Uh-uh. We don't do all that over here. Buy me a coffee? We can do that, y'all. Y'all can drop my buy me a coffee link. That's it. No, no, we don't do all that other. I don't even know how to do all that other. No, no. All right. These two are going to unpack what it was like to be a Mormon. And I remember when I found that out, I was like, dude, you, what? You used to what? After we met, because of the Delphi case, and it took you a minute to tell me you were actually in Indiana. I was like, okay, what now? Okay. I'll put that in a little box for a moment until I have to take it out. And one day I did. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But anyway, then I found out you were ex Mormon on top of that. I was like, huh, that never came out before, but kind of explains a few things, right, Joe? Kind of explained a few things. All right. Who's here? Who's here? Uh, Dental Lori. Hey, this might be your first time here. I'm not sure. Welcome in. Simi Sharp, my feralist of friends, is in the house. Faye, my nature loving friend. I see you, girl. I love you. We cut Simi. We don't do the woo woo. We'll fucking whip out that damn voodoo back at you. My girl in Louisiana may or may not know some voodoo. We might know a thing or two. Don't make us come back at you with that witchery. You don't want to do that. Oh, Megan, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm multi-layered and multifaceted. It's many moving parts to me. You want me to list them? I know it would be overwhelming if I did, but I could do it. I mean, geez. I've struggled with it my whole life. I understand. I've looked in the mirror, Megan. I've looked in the mirror and said, girl, what the fuck? A time or two, actually. It's called cleaning up the bathroom sink. Let it all go, right? Ain't nobody there but you in that sink in that mirror, right, girl? You and Jesus. We can't forget about him. All knowing for some people. Aho. Aho. Faye coming in with some coffee fund money. It's time to refill. I just took my last sip. Thank you, ma'am. My coffee is courtesy of Faye, and I appreciate you. Yes, do not activate my simi. And we got one with a trigger happy finger, but He'll be along eventually. Don't do it. He's very, very kind. We're very kind here at the Salty Crew. We're a kind breed over here, Megan, and we're empathetic. Because empathy is something everyone is capable of, Megan. Or, well, no, hang on, back it up, Salty. No, you know better. Empathy is what most people are capable of. It's a natural occurrence in the human makeup. We have the ability to be empathetic to others. Most people, excluding narcissistic people, serial killers, things of that nature. Me people. I could go on and on, actually. So we're not going to have. Well, we might have. We might have a psychology class wrapped up in this. We could do that. Let's do that. Okay, here we go. Let's get started with these two individuals while I get up and get my coffee. Joe met. So interestingly enough, guys, some of y'all may have heard the name Trace on the Case. Trace on the Case. Got stuck on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. I'm not sure if it was a fine sight to see or anything, but I hear tell got stuck near a corner for a long time, years, right outside of Winslow, or maybe on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. I'm confused a little bit about that story. But anyway, somewhere near Winslow, Arizona, this girl Trace on the Case is down there. And I don't know if she met Joe first and then he met Kresha through her. That's Kresha's story to tell and how they actually met. I couldn't tell you. He never told me how they actually met. But he met Trace on the Case down there in Arizona, boots on the ground, building my channel on the back of Lori Daybell and her beautiful head of hair that I'm fucking infatuated with. It's Joe Smo's words, not my. He doesn't use the word F. He didn't use that F word. Maybe not the word infatuated. So maybe those are my words, interpreting his words. Okay, yeah, maybe that's better. He's sure obsessed with it. Asked all kinds of questions about hair. I'm like, dude, I'm not a hair chick. It's what it is. It's whatever's up there is up there. I comb it and wash it and fuck it. I chuck it in the fuck it bucket. As long as I'm clean, I'm good. I don't know why he's asking me all these hair questions. Lori Vallow is the hairdresser, my man. You asking the wrong chick. Anyway, a little bit obsessed. Maybe, I don't know. All right, so he meets Trace, and she tells him, you gotta watch this channel, this Megan Connor channel. And Joe starts to watch Megan Connor, and he's like, oh my God, a fellow Mormon, a fellow ex-Mormon. I found my safe place to land in Lori Vallow's dumb cousin. Go figure, Joe. Your safe place to land turned out to be Lori fucking Vallow's cousin. Wow. Oh boy, take it away, guys, while I get coffee. So we speed them up because y'all know, oh, Lordy, we have to. We just have to. Both of them. All right, guys.
Let me tell you about our special guest.
Don't strike me. Don't get your finger off your nose. Don't strike me, because that would be rude. Because you got mad at Lauren for striking you when we reviewed her Holman interview. You fought hard to get it back online, and you did. Y'all made up, became best buds. You stood fucking 10 toes down for her, and now I can't find that video. You put it back up, and now it's gone again. I'm so confused. Is it you don't want your new pals over at Web Sleuths to know how you really feel about Delphi and Holman? Because you sat there like a little dweeb the other night saying not a fucking word about Delphi or what you know about Flora 4. Oh, Joe, okay, whatever. We're going to whatever you for that for the moment, Joe. But can't help but wonder. I'd like to review that review. I would like to review that review. I was a part of it. You don't mind, do you? Asking for a friend. Asking for the cranks, maybe. Ooh, you should be spooky scared now.
Mother of 6 spectacular human beings and a breaker of generational trauma cycles. She survived sex trafficking as a child and spent almost 40 years in other abusive systems before.
All right, hold up. We're gonna go back and start. Yeah, he's gonna tell y'all all about his new pal. Or pay attention. as he tells you about Megan Connor. He's going to introduce her to you so that you're not confused about who she is and what she stands for and how she got where she is today, the woman she's become. It was a lifelong battle to get there. And she's got it all figured out now. All right. And they're going to unpack the Mormonism of it all, I guess.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Happy Wednesday.
Uh,
Thank you for joining me on a on a Wednesday evening, which is unusual, right? Usually it's in the
I guess this was in the early days, y'all, before he got his fancy equipment. He had to get lighting, he had to get a face tracking camera, green screen. He's about to go fucking big time on us. I'm like, dude, your face tracking camera's all odd, but y'all look like fucking robots. Stop it. All right. This is before all that. So I guess that accounts for the poor lighting. All right.
mornings that we
I
all
just wanted to let y'all know. Penny, hey, this is inspired by you. I hope you are resting and nursing that pulled muscle and feel better. I was going to chill in your chat tonight, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm bored now, so let's do this. Let me check the date on it again. I can't remember. July 20. No, 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 no. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry. Hold on. I was taking an old stroll down the old playlist the other night for shits and giggles, and I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember when this happened. All right. So it was a year ago. It was February 12th, 2025. Okay. So again, he meets Megan through Trace on the Case, and he meets Trace on the Case at one of Lori Vallow's hearings before her trials started. And like I said, I'm not positive on the timeline of when his first live with Crescia was, or when or how they were even introduced. He never told me how, just that they were now, right? So that's her story to tell and not mine, right? So this is when that took place. So Joe's going to introduce all of us to his new friend Megan that he met when Trace on the Case said, go check out this channel. And an ex-Mormon friendship was born. Y'all feel free to join the conversation.
get together. But we have a special guest tonight. Let me tell you about our special guest. The mother of 6 spectacular human beings and a breaker of generational trauma cycles. She survived sex trafficking as a child and spent almost 40 years in other abusive systems before finally learning how to break free. Megan is now an author and coach and teaches others how to identify and exit coercive and abusive relationships and systems. She is passionate about discussing how toxic family patterns and cult mentalities led her cousin, Lori Vallow Daybell, to become a convicted murderer, and how everyone can help prevent future tragedies. Favorite topics to teach about are healthy parenting, family systems, high demand religion, and healing from trauma. And she has a couple of books on Amazon. I Walked Through Fire to Get Here, and 100 Ways to Practice Self-Care. So without further ado, let me bring on board Megan. Good evening. You're muted.
Hi there.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me too.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is so fun. I love seeing your comments on all the channels that we both follow, and it's so fun to see you in person, sort of.
It's fun to see your comments and all the channels we follow. Yeah. Joe had a way of chatting it up in the comments, didn't he there, Megan?
Yeah, sort of, right? It kind of looks like I'm in my parents' basement.
Oh, awkward silence.
So
Yeah, she may not have found that as funny as you did, Joe. You know, the parent basement, old guy in the basement, mama's basement comment. She's like, yeah. Well, like, me and a couple other women would do, and you would make those kind of comments. And you made them at the most oddball times. While I'm on my true crime channel reading a court document, you're over there. And I'm like, dude, are you okay? Are you paying attention? Are you still drinking in the mornings? Could you stop having those, what do you call those things people have at brunch? I'm not a drinker. What do you call that? The mimosas type thing? Yeah, but those are actually good when I'm in the mood because I'm a responsible drinker. But anyway, when I've had those on occasion, they were actually quite tasty. So I had to like put a stop to that, man. You can't be doing that coming on my live stream. It's not cool at all. You can't reason with a drunk or a person drinking.
Oh, let's start. So I'm kind of like a point A to point B to point C type of person.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Megan. So I know you were on a panel last night, and somebody that was on the panel kept calling you Megan, and it was like, do I have it right? Do I have it right? Is it?
I have no clue what panel she was on the night before this. So y'all do your research. There's a lot of us good at it out there. Have at it. The night before this particular panel, she was on somebody else's panel. And Joe was there for it. They're calling her Megan. The struggles in life are real, aren't they, Megan? I mean, I thought about it when I named my kids and how I spelled their names. How would that affect them at school? Because kids are weird. I thought about that, not just myself. So ask your mama why she didn't give you an extra E. You don't want to be like Stacy without the E, executive producer girl. You want to be Megan. So you could have actually just added an extra E in everywhere you went. People would have known right away, and there would have been no confusion and no trauma caused by the mispronouncing of your name. Right? Problem solved. I'm a problem solver. Like, wait, why is this bothering me? Oh, can I fix it? Yeah. Oh, wait, I can. Let me add an extra E in my name. So people understand it's Megan. Right? Problem solved.
Megan or is it Megan? Tell me about that.
You have it right. It is Megan. My name actually has a little bit of a Mormon origin, believe it or not. My dad served his mission in France. And at the time that he was serving, they didn't have apartments for missionaries in France. They did sort of a house situation where several different companionships shared a house. And so 4 different companionships had this house that they were sharing, and their house mother, who took care of all of their cooking and laundry and cleaning in the house, her name was Megan Lagat. And so that's who I'm named for.
Oh, wow. That is a cool story.
She got named after the house mama. It's kind of weird, but I mean, not that the house mama situation was kind of weird, but she got named after the house mama. There's like a Mormon tie to her name there.
That goes back a little ways.
Yeah. And I'm grateful to have that name, even though it's been, sort of annoying my entire life. I'm always having to correct people every time I go through the drive-through.
I know. My last name gets mispronounced. It's a simple damn last name, Megan, and it gets mispronounced. People and they like put a whole other letter in there that's not even there. It's legit. They'll throw a K into my last name, and it doesn't have a K in it. And I just yeah, I nod half the time. But for business purposes, when I spell my last name, because people think I say a different last name than what I'm actually saying. Struggle's fucking real, girl. I know. Damn. Penny, you ain't wrong about this girl when you evaluate her, ma'am.
They can have a name for the order, and I say Megan, and they go Megan, and I go, yep.
Right.
But it was either that or be named for my maternal grandmother, whom I loved dearly. However, her name was Vadis, and I'm very grateful that I did not get that name.
Oh, the dogs are being a little loud. We could have got Vadis. Well, Vadis would be better than Megan. Megan, what's your name, girl? What's your name? What's your name, little girl? What's your name? All right. Well, she's not Vadis. She's Megan, and I need to go put the dog up or something.
Yeah, I can see where that might be a little bit more of a struggle than Megan, right?
Yeah.
So you and I have something in common, and I'm going to go back to when I first learned about your channel. So Tracy and I met at one of Lori's hearings there in Phoenix.
Okay.
In December. So she had 2 hearings in December. She had her competency hearing, and then she had her next hearing after that, her pretrial hearing in front of Judge Boreski. And Tracy's like, you've got to check out this channel. You've got to check out this channel. And I did. And as somebody who is an ex-Mormon, I find your channel a safe place to go and hang out.
Oh, thank you.
Safe place to go and hang out as an ex-Mormon. Trace on the case hooked them up. Hey, Joe, you need to go. Did Tracy know you were ex-Mormon already? or just like, hey, go here, she's covering Lori Vallow's stuff too, go check her out, kind of thing? Was it that your fascination with Vallow? He got the woo woo from Trisha. He got the Vallow woo woo somehow. What happened was Joe didn't set out to go cover Lori Vallow. Joe left Indiana to go to Arizona for other reasons. While there, Lori Vallow is going to be happening. I think I'm going to cover that. Okay, Joe, do that. And he did. And then that's what happened. It wasn't like that was it. Hey, I don't think he never watched the trials prior to the Idaho stuff. He didn't know much about it. He didn't know a lot of the details you needed to know to tell the story of Lori Vallow from a criminal standpoint, unpacking court documents standpoint, going to court standpoint. It feels like when he started covering it, because he was there and people were there, he really wanted, and he didn't like having to sit in the back. He wanted to sit with the media. That was a huge deal. God tried to get friendly with the what is it, the court bailiff. It was a lot. And I'm like, dude, damn, my dog, I'm sorry, y'all. Slow your roll, right? Slow your roll a little bit. Anyway, he got his little media pass printed. I got to go put the puppy up so the big dog and her will stop playing. Right outside my door, there's a gate that stops them from coming in here. Actually, I could just shut the door. Hold on. I'll let these two go at it for a minute.
It's I mean, people who have been in the church and grew up in the church have a different perspective, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So you said your dad went on a mission, so I assume you were born into the church. I was 2 years old when my parents joined, so basically the same. So what was it like growing up in the church, and when did you figure out that you needed to find a way out?
Wow. That's going to be a long answer. I'll try to keep it short. Well, so I'm a 7th generation Mormon. My 5th great grandfather on my mother's side joined the church in Missouri in 1830. He claimed to be the first person to join the church in Missouri, but I have not been able to corroborate that with source documents. It's just hearsay at this point. But my dad's family joined the church actually here in San Antonio. His mom was tracked out by some missionaries. And so they joined the church back in the 60s. And my dad was baptized as a teenager. And he and my mom met at BYU. So I was brought up.
Not BYU. Oh, Lordy, the Mormon College. That's a lot to unpack right there in itself, right, Megan? Right, Megan, Joe? Well, I know where you, never mind.
In, a very strict Mormon household. My parents were very insistent that we do all of the Mormon things exactly the right way. And so, that looked like daily prayer, scripture study as a family and individually. It looked like going to church every single Sunday, never missing a meeting, always going to, youth group on weeknights as a teenager, going to 4 years of early morning seminary, going to all of the young women's and young adult activities. So yeah, I mean, I refer to it really as indoctrination because I didn't really have a choice. And my parents, I think they both came from.
So when you're raised in a religion, no matter what it is it indoctrination? I mean, I get where you're trying to go with that, Megan, but it's just that's what your family believes in. But it's so but with saying that, you believe being raised LDS Mormon, to be specific, whatever, is there really I don't know. I'm not either. I'm not this. Is it bad or not, right, Megan? That's what I'm trying to ask. I get confused because they start all the things, right? And then later they'll backtrack on that somewhat. And you'll see that when they're having their conversation. I can't remember if this is the interview where he asked her if she ever felt weird when she cussed, or however he worded it, and she replies back, "Fuck no." That might have been a different one though. We'll see, because I couldn't cuss on his channel because his chat didn't like it. They're, oh, my ears, right, situation. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm going to hurt these people's feelings on Joe's channel, and they can be looked at as like I'm being mean to Joe, and it was like, ugh. Gotta be all nice all the time, 24 fucking 7, even if I don't feel like it or whatever.
Pretty controlling households as well as children, and I think they really didn't know how to parent in any other way than to be controlling. And of course, being in the church, the church system sort of encourages that. It encourages you to be really strict with your children and make sure that they're adhering to everything. And so I felt as a child growing up that the only way for me really to be acceptable or to gain approval or love from my parents was to follow the letter of the Mormon law. And so I memorized everything I could memorize. I learned all the songs. I sung all the songs. I tried to do everything exactly the way I was supposed to, mainly so I could be acceptable to my parents, because I knew that's really what they wanted for me. As a teenager, I had a difficult time coming from that kind of an upbringing where there was a lot of emotional neglect. There was a lot of manipulation and control in my family system. I started to really, experience a lot of depression and anxiety as a young teenager. And part of that was this cognitive dissonance I was starting to form with the church culture, and a lot of lies and secrecy and shame, body shaming, the purity culture, the modesty culture, all of those things really did not sit well with me as a teenager. I'm a pretty independent thinker, and I'm a pretty outspoken person. And I very quickly learned.
Independent thinker and outspoken person. But if anybody else comes out and is the same way, you've got an issue with them. They are not empathetic. They are not nice. They're bullies. They're unhappy. They're unhealed. Huh. Oh, God.
That if I had opinions that were different than the church culture, I should probably keep those to myself. And so I learned what to say and what not to say. And I think that I had just a lot of internal questions and things that didn't sit right with me about the church from a younger age, but I just sort of pushed them all away because I knew that I needed to do what was going to be acceptable to my family. So I spent a couple years out of the church when I was right after I graduated from high school.
So right after high school, she's going to spend a few years away from the church. In the meantime, she's going to have a baby and get married.
Yada, yada, ended up pregnant.
Uh-oh, hold on. Swamp signal must have came in strong. Give her a moment. Sometimes when I stop it and restart it, I get the woo-woo. I get it occasionally. We're not scared of the woo-woo over here, Trisha. My cat scares it away.
Was married and ended up marrying what I thought was a great guy at the time, but didn't get married in the temple, and he was not a member. And I went back to church when she was 2 years old because I wanted her to have a spiritual foundation like I had when I was a kid. And
she just got through telling us how horrible her experience was as a kid. Her entire foundation. But she wants her daughter to have that foundation that she had. So she returns to the Mormon church for more. She goes back for more, y'all, with her child in tow. What happens to Mormons when their spouses aren't Mormons? You two going to talk about that for a minute? Here, let me let y'all have at it a moment.
So, I tried my hardest to get my former husband to join the church, and after several sets of missionaries, he did join the church, but he was only active for a few months. We never went to the temple together. And I spent the rest of our 22-year marriage trying to get him to go to church and taking all 6 of my kids to church and doing all the church things.
Simi, that's where I had the biggest problem with him. One time when me and him and Shorty were on a panel together on Shorty's Live, you know how she and I, we cuss. We're doing our thing up there. We start joking about something. I don't remember how it went down. And you might have remembered this, Simi. You remember when he said, we were like, Joe, don't cuss or something like that. And he's like, well, I was raised different. That stopped Shorty dead in her tracks, and I was right behind her. Brakes on. We about ran into one another. Excuse us, sir. You're going to throw in the way we were raised about how we talk? Are you saying we weren't raised any better? We shouldn't use that language because our mama should have taught us better. Sir, I may have learned it from my mama. But tell me more about yours.
Without a lot of support. So it wasn't until I got divorced that I finally gave myself permission to, I guess, distance myself from the things I thought were harmful about the church. And at the time, it was really just the church culture that I was feeling really dissonant with, like I didn't belong, and like there were a lot of harmful things. The November 2015 policy about children of gay parents not being able to get baptized really struck me very, very deeply. And it was just a matter of time from that point. But it took me another 6 or 7 years before I ever looked at truth claims.
Truth claims? Is that what's awokened you, started the journey? So they had policies that didn't sit right, but you still stuck it out 6 to 7 more years. Was it that hard to get out of LDS or Mormonism? Is it really that hard for these people? In so deep, cult-like deep, they cannot walk away from it. I don't know how to analyze that because I've tried to avoid it because I don't want to do that, I guess. I don't know people are ready for it.
And actually, this coming Friday will be my 2-year anniversary of resigning from the church.
Oh, 2 years.
Wow. What an amazing story.
Did you say 2 years? She's only been away from the church 2 years? Like, for real? Like, all together? Now I'm really out of the church 2 full years now. That first time was a couple of years. I went back, stayed, red flags occurred. I stayed longer, and now I'm out again. 2 years now. Did I misunderstand her, chat? Y'all let me know if I did. I'm not going back.
Story, and we actually have some more things in common than I knew we did. My original spouse also was not a member and tried to get her to join and took her to several meetings and everything. But yeah, that's a whole nother story. We don't need to.
His original spouse, was there others? There's a whole other story, though. We'd rather hear yours, Megan. But he understands how that not having the spouse go with you probably is hard. I always wonder about that. Like, legit, I've thought about it. Those people who are like, real devout in their religion marry somebody outside of their religion. It appears to me it's a whole like thing that has to happen, which is confusing to me because I don't understand it, but that's not I don't have to understand it, right? I just don't got to be a part of it if I don't want to. So I don't want, these people are confusing, y'all. They make that religious rabbit hole. Golly, I went down it like 40, I'm not that old. Come on. 30 years ago, like really thought about it. You're at that age, you got little babies, like contemplating life. What's it all mean? Yeah, Megan, empaths walk a strong walk in this world, and it can be overwhelming at times. Lots of energies out there moving around trying to suck it all out of you. They don't mean to, though. It's not their fault when you walk through life, you absorb it all. It's not their fault. They know no better.
We don't need to go down. But yeah, oh my gosh, we have things in common. So 2 years. So how does it feel now? I mean,
it's amazing. I've told people this so many times, so I keep repeating it because I think it's so important for me to remember and for people to hear. When I got the email confirming that my membership records had been removed, I literally felt shame leave my body. I felt like I no longer had to be ashamed of who I inherently am. And I felt like I could just live my life now. I got to choose my own values, and I got to choose what was important to me, and I got to choose how I was going to spend my time and my money. It was like all of this freedom that we subjugate all of our entire lives to the church and all those important decisions to them. And so having that freedom back is an amazing feeling, and I just have loved every moment of my life out of the church.
Wow, what an amazing story. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the LDS Church isn't the only high demand religion, right?
Yeah, of course.
And that's one of your specialties, is helping people who are in high demand religions.
Mm-hmm.
High demand religions. And she's got a lot of labels in her filing cabinet, right? And I guess it's called high demand religion now. It was called organized religion back in the day, you two children, little youngsters. Huh. Somebody over there dropping knowledge. People like me and Penny in her chat or in her comment section. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. They just updated us on the terminology here. All right. It can be high demand, I guess, but if you're not on the fringe or going overboard, or if you are so confused about your own internal struggle with what religion really is, go your separate ways, man, and do you. Try to overcome whatever this trauma. Does LDS really cause that? You go watch those Mormon stories. They unpack a lot over there. These people go through a lot. So is it really indoctrination? It's like programming. You got to be deprogrammed from them in these high demand religions. Maybe we should pick it apart. We got some deprogramming to do. Huh.
But you've also
I don't ever want to be that simple-minded where I need to be deprogrammed one day. Ever.
had some trauma in your life.
Yeah.
And surviving that is, I mean, just from reading your bio, that's like one of your key things, right?
Yeah, when I first started speaking publicly about my experiences in my life, I was really mostly talking about the experience that I had, healing from the trauma that I experienced as a child, being sex trafficked from the ages of 7 to 11. And the reason I started speaking about that is because when I was going through my healing process, I met a lot of women who had been through similar experiences, and especially in my group therapy, I met a lot of women who had PTSD.
She just say that trauma was between the age of 7 and 11? Because that's not my first time hearing this story.
And had abuse in their life.
I'm not new to Miss Megan, huh, Joe? Because I met her through you. You was singing her fucking praises. Like that time you met that girl, Grayson in Delphi. Oh my God, we all need a Grayson. She's so sweet. And the next thing we know, you're buying her tequila shots in a bar in Vegas. Oh man.
And it really saddened me that I didn't see a lot of examples of those women going on to thrive and to live happy lives. And I started to wonder if it was even possible for me to heal from everything I had been through, or to feel differently than I did at the time. And I had a lot of despair over that, because I just wondered, like, am I always going to feel like this? And so when I finally did come out on the other side, I really wanted other people in my position, my previous position, to know that it's possible to heal from all of that trauma. It's possible to feel different. And not only that, but to go on and have a happy and a successful life, and not always be stuck in perpetual therapy and be stuck in these perpetual cycles of grief and agony.
Perpetual therapy. Huh.
It was so painful to go through.
Come take my course and you don't got to go through perpetual therapy anymore. You can just go through my perpetual course catalog. Has there been new courses lately? I saw that one time there was a video about I got to get off the YouTube and go get a real job. Something happened. The money just wasn't there anymore. I don't know.
So that was the main thing I wanted people to know. My main message was like, it's possible. It's possible to heal. You can have a happy life after this. You're not always going to feel this way, and you're not alone. So that's what I started talking about. And then Lori happened.
Faye, do you need a platform, my friend?
Before we get to Lori, which is obviously the elephant in the room, because that's what a lot of people want to hear about.
Yeah.
I did download your book this morning, and I started reading it. Obviously, I didn't get very far. It's heavy.
It is heavy. Yeah.
He downloaded her book and began to read it, and it's heavy moment. She agrees it is heavy. That they unpacked she must have unpacked a lot in the book, and Joe, it resonated down deep in his soul.
Especially the beginning of it. I imagine you bring us through in the end of it, but the very opening metaphor that you use is that if you see somebody running down the street screaming, and you don't know why they're running down the street screaming.
Are you telling me that, Deanne, that I can be as judgy and miserable as Megan, or him or me? I don't want to confuse the comments. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with what people comment to, so I don't know. if you're talking about me or not. Yeah, occasionally. Are you talking to somebody else? Or are you talking to, who are you? I don't know. I just want to be confused. I'm confused. I'm not as tuned in as these two.
Screaming. Most people are going to cross the street and avoid that person because they think that person is crazy. Now, what if that person has a lion chasing them and you can all of a sudden see that lion? Then you can understand why they're running down the street yelling. And you mentioned that other people.
Oh, bet she did a whole video after all the fallout with HTC was happening, and said as much. The money just wasn't coming in like it was on YouTube anymore, and she was going to have to go get, outside employment and all this stuff. And I don't know what else. She streamed the Web Sleuths thing the other night. Other than that, I don't know what this girl's done. Her website may be thriving with people taking the course. I don't know what's going on. But
Couldn't see.
yeah, there's, I think the video's still up on her channel about her. It was got too much. We're bullying her out here, hurting her channel.
The lion that was chasing.
Although she didn't mind making videos calling women with an opinion a whole bunch of things.
You, and you couldn't even see the lion that was chasing you when you were running down the street yelling. So how
yeah.
did you eventually become aware of that lion, and how did you come through to the other side?
The lion's coming to get y'all. Now the lion's chasing you. And when did you realize it was going to get you and you had to react to the, what'd y'all do to the lion? And break out the bow and arrow and turn around and give it hell.
Well, it was a couple of different things. I knew that there was something wrong with me when I was a teenager. And by that, I mean, it's not the typical teenager, like, oh, I suck, I don't fit in, kind of those kind of feelings. I felt so sad and alone so much of the time that I was like, surely nobody else feels like this. I'm the only person, like, there's something wrong with me. I just felt like I couldn't be happy most of the time. And so I asked my parents as a teenager if I could go to therapy, and they would not let me go to therapy because that would have been seen as shameful.
Shameful to go to therapy, as it would have been seen. Her parents would have thought it was shameful. So she's on Patreon. Is she doing the thing on the Patreon? That little money-making scheme thingy over there, patreon.com? Okay.
They didn't want people to know that there was something wrong with their daughter. So I wasn't able to get the help that I needed when I was a teenager. And later on, as a young adult, when I did seek out therapy, I was counseled to go only to the therapists that were provided by the church. And
we know that. Jody Hildebrandt of it all. The church, go to the church. I'm having issues. Or your parents tell them you're having whatever. Somebody complains about you or you complain. They're like, here, go to therapy. We have the therapist for you. And you're only allowed to see the Mormon approved therapist. Now go be abused at the therapist. Oh, allegedly, maybe.
As you can probably imagine, that gives a therapist a rather strong bias towards helping you be more faithful and pray harder, read your scriptures more, have more faith, lay your burdens at the feet of Jesus. He's been through everything you've been through. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure he hasn't been through sexual abuse, but maybe he can understand. I just remember thinking, like, that feels weird to me. Mm-hmm. So I spent a lot of my life dissociating and pretending like I felt okay when I didn't. And I remember people were asking, they would ask me how I'm doing. And I would say, I'm great, I'm fine. And I kind of became known as a person who was always smiling and who always, was cheerful and bubbly. But on the inside, I was not.
She literally, though, does act like she might be the only woman on the face of the earth that's ever been through anything, right? Has ever dealt with anything, who's ever had to pull herself up off the floor at a moment of weakness or something, or dealt with a messed up relationship or something, or had religious questions themselves or whatever, the weird mother-in-law, I don't know. Fucking flip a coin. We can pull a reason out of the air at this point. But she acts like she's literally the only woman that's ever had to deal with anything. And she's got all the answers now to how to overcome all that, and it's odd. And she's going to make sure she lets other women know, and men, that she's a safe place to land, and she'll help you understand what's wrong with you. like she learned on Facebook that time. My my opinion. She can help you get to figure out what's wrong with you and get you better through her courses and her knowledge of what she's learned on her path to recovery from her trauma of her childhood based on her Mormon upbringing. Don't miss it. Her parents didn't, they weren't drunks abusing her and neglecting the fam. They were Mormons imposing strict guidelines and rules on her. Caused all her trauma. Joe, you feeling it? Am I right?
Was hurting a lot, and
Hey, they're not that bad. Damn it.
didn't know what to do about it. So I just pretended like everything was fine. I pretended like that outer veneer was me. And in a lot of ways, I see.
Sorry, I said veneer. Come, I was drinking my coffee, Megan, and you said veneer. You know what the first thought in my mind was, right? That motherfucker flying out of that mouth. Escape. The bugs are coming. Let's escape out of this mouth.
See some similarities between me and Lori in that way. And I know that sounds really weird to say, but I can definitely identify with putting on a face in public and being someone else in private. Only I wasn't harming people in private. I was just sad all the time and very depressed and had a hard time, getting out of bed and things. So I just pretended like I was happy for the longest time. And then one day, the weirdest thing happened. I had a very close relationship with my parents throughout my young, early motherhood until I was about 35 or so. We lived pretty close to each other, and we had dinner together every Sunday night and every holiday, every birthday. We were together all the time. And one day, my dad called me up and said he wanted to have lunch with me. And it was sort of out of the blue and kind of weird. So I didn't call him back for a long time. And then, he kept persisting. And so I called my sister and I was like, this is kind of weird. What do you think of this, that dad's calling me? And she said, actually, he did the same thing to me. He wanted to talk about what kind of father he was and, sort of talk about why our childhood was the way it was. And my first reaction to that was like, no, 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 no. I'm good. I don't want to talk about any of that. Like I'm an adult. I don't live with them anymore. I'm basically doing okay. Let's just leave that past in the past. I don't want to talk about it. So I put it off as long as I possibly could. But what ended up happening is when we had that lunch and he talked about some of his struggles as a father, it basically forced me to stop dissociating from my childhood. And it forced me to remember all of those things I had stuffed down. And it forced me to confront the fact that I did not have a happy childhood, that I was not happy with my parents, and that there was some severe trauma there. And I tried to ignore that for as long as I could, but I found myself unable to function. I was having panic attacks. I would cry for days after seeing my parents. So I finally decided to go to therapy and go no contact with my parents. And that's really when my healing journey began.
Wow. That
horsewoman, 2 years in, and oh my God, she's got it all figured out. An expert in the field, life coach. 7 years dealing with a loss of a manipulation hubby, but she had the worst. Yeah, and figured it out in 2 years. That's all it took. 2 years might be the mark where you just start the journey, if you ask me. Well, in a personal loss, like for me, it was like that. It took 2 years to even get to where, oh my God, right? What just happened? No, Megan's got it 2 years. Fucking work's done. We're there. We learned all the tools and unpacked all of it, all that trauma, including my dumb cousin's shit too. We can't forget about her shit. That was extremely traumatic. The fuck kind of family did you and Lori Vallow come from, honey?
Oh. That is a tough journey. That is a really tough journey. So how do you think the church played a role in that disassociative relationship that you had with your parents?
Had the church play a role in that disassociate? The parents believed in that stuff, Joe, and made her believe in it too. Faye, are you on Discord? If not, you have my email, right? I know you have my email. I got yours. What am I saying? We need to talk though, so I'll email you. All right.
Like
and you only going to do what you're comfortable with doing ever, okay? I know a little bit, but yeah.
being seventh generation Mormon and
Seventh
going through all of the
generation
motions,
Mormon.
doing all of the things that we should do as a good Mormon, but it not sitting right with you on the inside, like it not creating a healthy human being in you.
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Because we're promised as Mormons that if we will do all of the faithful things, if we will keep the commandments, have faith in Jesus Christ, read our scriptures, say our prayers, go to church, attend the temple, we're told that if we do all of those things that we will have joy, not just happiness, but joy.
Joy comes from within. Right? Thank goodness I know that. Megan, did see that's they're telling me that LDS religion is dangerous. That's what I'm picking up, but they all will end up, it's not that bad.
And I was
Bad, but not that bad.
certainly not experiencing that. And so it made me think there was something wrong with me. Like, what am I doing wrong? I'm not faithful enough. I'm not trying hard enough. And so, I doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on my Mormonism. I served a lot in the church. I never said no to a calling. And there was one point in my life where I had 4 callings and, 6 children that I was bringing to church by myself. And I was serving
6 kids she's indoctrinating into this religion that caused her all her trauma. After leaving for 2 years, having a baby, then getting married, and then going back, and now all these years later, 6 kids in now, we're still going, and we're doubling down on everything we're doing for LDS in the name of Jesus. She couldn't fight it anymore? It was the questions too difficult to answer? Did she not think I can believe in God but not believe in this? Because what she was taught was so powerful that if you if you even have a thought about straying, Jesus might strike you dead. You'll go live in the demon depths of hell and burn. Used to tell my mama we would be like running amok. We're like, we're thirsty. You know what she'd say? Well, Papa would say it, but she'd say it occasionally. People in hell want ice water. And I remember thinking, well, if they didn't go to hell, they wouldn't be asking for the ice water. But if I said that out loud, I was going to be wishing I hadn't, right? But that's what I would think. Well, hell, I know it'd be good if I ain't going to hell, so I ain't got to worry about it. Anyway, just a thought. Megan, struggle is real.
It was basically like an extra part-time job serving in the church. And I kept doing more and more, hoping that at some point the promise was going to happen. And I kept telling myself that God is reserving a blessing for you. It's just not your time yet. So I basically gaslit myself into believing that it just wasn't the right time for me to.
So God, it's just not the right time for God to do what? It's like my prayers were answered. Well, were mine not good enough? It's kind of like that, Megan, to me.
Have blessings yet, and that God would give me the blessings when it was my right time. That I was just going to have to continue to suffer until He decided it was time. So that was probably one of the hardest things for me, was believing that there was a God who knew my name and knew my suffering, and yet that I was being extremely faithful and doing everything I thought that He wanted me to do, and yet He was still not blessing me with the things that I was promised.
Kind of like her dumb cousin, Lori Vallow. Doing it in the name of Jesus. He spoke to me. Amen. I think Joe's feeling that one too.
And I kept wondering if I was going to have to die before I got those blessings.
Oh.
Wow.
Is He a punishing Jesus? Did you sign a life contract that you didn't really want to sign up for, and your walk on earth was to take a beating? And then after that death, then you'll be rewarded? What are you doing, Megan?
Wow, that's heavy. That is a heavy burden to bear.
Oh,
that
yeah.
is. So your 6 children were with your first husband, and then you got a divorce how long ago?
Joe's sure interested in everybody else's business, ain't he? Well, if they're willing to put it out there, why not? You're interviewing her. Wait, he is interviewing her. So there's that.
It was about, I have to look. It's about 8 years ago. Actually, we actually separated on Valentine's Day in 2017.
Oh my God. I accidentally got married one time, and it was the day before Valentine's Day. It was accidentally. I wasn't drunk in Vegas, though. It's a long story. We were married for a long time. We have beautiful children together. No longer married. Got rid of that situation years ago. I'm one of those ladies, Megan, that are single by design. I enjoy it. I don't get lonely. I get bored. There's a big difference. If I get too bored, I know I could go for a walk and frolic in the field. I mean, a lot of things could happen when I'm bored. I might go live and talk shit.
My goodness, that's the day
So
after tomorrow.
Valentine's Day is my Independence Day.
Let freedom ring. It's Independence Day. I'm no Martina McBride. That bitch can hit a high note like nobody's business. Let freedom ring.
So divorce is something that is extremely frowned upon in the church. Like
Yeah.
you don't.
The Bible says, I think a lot of religions really frown upon divorce, which I always had an issue with. Was I was supposed to stay with a man that's causing me harm because Jesus said I shouldn't leave and be divorced and all that? What does Jesus want me to do? Megan asking for a friend. Struggle's real.
Get a divorce unless it's like the last resort. So how did that make you feel to have 6 children with a man and then go through divorce? And did you feel shame?
You Mormons aren't the only one that's ever questioned Jesus and mortality and if heaven's real. It's a book, Megan. It's a book. Heaven is for real. You should read it.
Through the church for that?
Yeah, definitely. My marriage was pretty good for the first 3 years. And after that, it started becoming problematic. And,
What?
After we've been together for
Like I can't. There's a lot of Mormons out there, so I don't get why some of them becomes just so affected. That's what they blame. Versus maybe they had just shitty parents, right? Maybe it was just that. Um, because there's a lot of religions out there. I got people in my family that have been preachers. There's religion everywhere around me. I'm in the South. I was raised going to church and stuff. I don't have a problem with the higher power and the man upstairs. I'm trying to get up there. But they act like that's why I always left confused about what we're doing here with Chad and Lori. Can I blame this stuff or not? It had to be this happy medium where everybody just got, I couldn't anymore. It was weird. But y'all make me really wonder, you two, it can't be because there's like a whole bunch of Mormons that seem to function okay. I don't know any of them personally because I'm in Florida, and I don't think we have a lot of Mormons around here. There may be, probably, but it's not like Utah, right? Like I watched what's those ladies? Oh, wait. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I've watched them. You ever heard of Heather Gay? Megan? Mormon Stories? No, that's that other dude. What's Heather's book, y'all? What's her podcast about the Mormon? Bad Mormon. Yeah, Heather Gay, Bad Mormon. That's all I know about these Mormon ladies. So,
for about 12 or 13 years, there started to be some
some of them seem normal, though. Megan, I don't know.
Alcoholism, some physical abuse, and definitely coercive control for the rest of the marriage. So I definitely stayed in that marriage at least 10 years longer than I should have. But it was the old mantra.
Oh, that's a lot of women do that, stay longer than they should have. But you're the only one that experiences stuff like that. We get it.
Of like,
you get it, girl. You're gonna write a book. Hey, has she already wrote a book about that? There's probably a course or two about how to leave those men. You empaths, you can't fix him, and you cannot change him. He's using you and abusing you and twisting you into knots.
Stay for the kids. And also just the church expectation that you have to have a husband to get into heaven. You have to have a husband in order to even get sealed to your children.
What? Is that what they say on their Bible? Their Bible. I don't know what the Book of Mormon. What is it? Is that what Mormons teach them? That they cannot get to heaven unless they're married, or they can't be sealed to their kids unless they're married to that man? Oh, damn. That struggle is real. I'm over here wondering if does Jesus want me to stay married because divorce is bad, but he sees what's happening. I took my chances, man, and I left. I bolted. Fuck.
And so I lived with this anxiety all the time if one of my kids died, and I did have a
Oh,
miscarriage at
shit.
one point, which devastated me because I was like, I'm not sealed to.
I'm gonna let that one go for right now, Megan, whatever the fuck your name is today. You should have threw an extra E in, like I said, so there would be absolutely no more confusion for your fucking mind. We know it's been through a lot. I'm gonna let that one slide for the moment, because I don't want to bring my feels into this, right? Compartmentalizing and all that. I might have had some tools in my back pocket to pull out real quick. Look at there, emergency, red flag, pull out a tool. Calm yourself, girl. It's okay.
My husband, so this baby doesn't get to be mine in heaven.
What?
It was devastating to have that hanging over me all the time. So that was a lot of the reason why I stayed for a long time. And I remember somebody saying at some point that the only real acceptable reasons for divorce were like the 4 A's. It was abuse, addiction, abandonment, and I can't remember what the other one was. And I was like, well, I've got all of those if you think about emotional abandonment. But I didn't.
Well, you got all those. If you think about emotional abandonment, she was emotionally. Did she not get bonding when she was a newborn? Some people don't get that bonding as a newborn, right? You don't even really realize it through your entire life that there was never. If you ever have that feeling like, I'm not really close. You know what I'm saying? Bonding. I have 4 babies. That bonding is such a beautiful moment. I don't know if that was ever there. I've seen in my lifetime where that was not occurring in certain situations. But it's so important to bond with that child the moment they come into the world. Huh. I miss little tiny babies. Everybody in my family, we don't have little tiny babies anymore. I could borrow one and send it back home.
I didn't get divorced because, after I went through some of the abuse and he went through alcoholism, he actually stopped drinking. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe we're good now.
Oh.
And I can just stick this out. And it was.
I didn't have the alcohol. That adds an extra layer to stuff. Girl, damn, the alcohol. So if he quits drinking, maybe we're good. That's always a good thing. But they didn't, see eye to eye on the religion stuff either. So I'm pretty sure there was probably a lot going on there that we're not privy to. And I really don't care. But she's just letting us know that she can, she got out, overcome everything. Whatever the hell she's doing now. Hold on. Let her tell it while I get me some more coffee.
It wasn't until I went to therapy after those panic attacks due to my conversation with my dad. And I actually went to
the conversations was what given her the panic attacks with her dad. It brought up those old memories, that old, she just acts like stuff is just it's just like, I had panic attacks and I just is everything's just exploding in her mind. It's all happening to her. All her trauma bubbles to the surface at one time. It's all there. She cannot deny it any longer. Everything. And I can't get over her high horse syndrome. Ever. It's always bothered me about her. When he introduced us or whatever. Like, I knew I could never be on panel with her because we weren't the fucking same, right? There's a big difference. This girl. And we would probably clash, especially with this mouth from the South and my uneducated self down here. Right, Megan?
To therapy because I was like, I want to repair my relationship with my parents. I want to find out why.
Parenting, family systems, high demand religion.
Wow. That's a lot. That's going to be a long answer. I'll try to keep it short. So I'm a 7th generation Mormon.
Wait a minute.
My
Let's get past some of this shit anyway. Hold on. Let's get them two into a conversation for a second about other shit than her fucking background. It might be the whole. Let me look at something. I didn't mean to do that. I hit the button by accident. Something got in my way here. Occasionally, y'all, I roll as the Hot Mess Express. It is what it is. All right, let me get refocused. Uh-oh. Okay. This may not be the exact spot we were at, but we're just going to start right here. We'll start back up right here. While I grab a fresh coffee and the dogs are sleeping because it got super quiet. I never did put the puppy up. She just like got real quiet. So we're good. All right. In fact, let me while I'm up grabbing coffee, guys, I'm gonna step on the back porch for a second, and I'll join you in chat. Let me make sure we got this sped up. If I do, I can probably do. Y'all know me, I'm half deaf, and if they go too fast, the words jumble up, and I can't understand what's happening. Let me test.
Yeah, when I first started speaking publicly about my experiences in my
Okay, we're gonna do let her go at this speed.
life, I was really mostly talking about the experience that I had, healing from the trauma that I experienced as a child, being sex trafficked from the ages of 7 to 11. And the reason I started speaking about that is because when I was going through my healing process, I met a lot of women who had been through similar experiences, and especially in my group therapy, I met a lot of women who had PTSD and had abuse in their life. And it really saddened me that I didn't see a lot of examples of those women going on to thrive and to live happy lives. And I started to wonder if it was even possible for me to heal from everything I had been through or to feel differently than I did at the time. And I had a lot of despair over that because I just wondered, like, am I always going to feel like this? And so when I finally did come out on the other side, I really wanted other people in my position, my previous position, to know that it's possible to heal from all of that trauma. It's possible to feel different. And not only that, but to go on and have a happy and a successful life and not always be stuck in perpetual therapy and be stuck in these perpetual cycles of grief.
Okay, we've already been to that part, Megan.
I wanted to talk about what kind of father he was and, sort of talk about why our childhood was the way.
Oh, come on, you ridiculous thing. All right, let me look at my sum too. Right there. Okay, I see where I'm at. All right, hang on, guys. So I guess she's going to figure everything out. How to recover from her childhood and her trauma and her religious beliefs and the bad marriage and all the things. She's got it all figured out now. And I don't know when she decides, I'm going to write books and start courses and all those things and go online and talk about my dumb cousin. Hang on. Okay, we're going to go back with this. Let me make sure I got the playback speed up. Go here. Yeah, I got to do it at 1.5. I can't do it at the 2.0. I cannot compute. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna let these two take it away again, and then I'm gonna grab some coffee and walk on the back porch real quick and let these dogs outside they can run around for a little while it's cool out there, and then I'll come back. I'll see you guys in the chat for a couple of minutes. and it's turned up to 1.5. And just pay attention to how they enter their conversation with each other, right? And she's always going, and Penny's been pointing out some great things about Megan over there. I went back and late at night I'll review what Penny's got. I'll see her videos, and I'll listen to the live. And I was going to go sit in her chat tonight and chill, so I'll have my notification on for her. I think Monday is her rescheduled stream. So it, because manipulation as a whole on the internet, on YouTube. It's not just hidden true crime that does it. It's not just web sleuths who do it. And I'm not here to call out all of that. I think my goal would more like be like, what do we watch out for? Right? Because if y'all been around me for a minute, y'all know when I end my true crime live streams, what do I say? Be careful on the YouTube streets. It's not safe out there. It's manipulation tactics being used everywhere to reel us in, to do this and to do that. And it could be the crazy thumbnails, it could be the titles, it could be whatever, and you can surface level it all day long. Clickbait, it's for clicks and views, it's grifting, it's what that's surface level because like to me, web sleuths, she's just not about grifting off the people. It goes way deeper. There's a con. Her grift is a whole ass con. I got questions about never mind at this point. Anyway, not just like, oh my God, it's a con, like real con artists, people from back in the day, old school. I'm going to teach my babies how to be con artists kind of people. And they found a new way to do it on the internet.
Say our prayers,
label it, I'm here for victims.
Go to church, attend the temple. We're told that if we do all of those things, that we will have joy, not just happiness, but joy. And I was certainly not experiencing that. And so it made me think there was something wrong with me. Like, what am I doing wrong? I'm not faithful enough. I'm not trying hard enough. And so, I doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on my Mormonism. I served a lot in the church. I never said no to a calling. And there was one point in my life where I had 4 callings and 6 children that I was bringing to church by myself, and I was serving. It was basically like an extra part-time job serving in the church, and I kept doing more and more, hoping that at some point the promise was going to happen. And I kept telling myself that God is reserving a blessing for you. It's just not your time yet. So I basically gaslit myself into believing that it just wasn't the right time for me to have blessings yet, and that God would give me the blessings when it was my right time. That I was just going to have to continue to suffer until He decided it was time. So that was probably one of the hardest things for me, was believing that there was a God who knew my name and knew my suffering, and yet that I was being extremely faithful and doing everything I thought that He wanted me to do, and yet He was still not blessing me with the things that I was promised. And I kept wondering if I was going to have to die before I got those blessings.
Wow. That's heavy. That is a heavy burden to bear. That is. So your 6 children were with your first husband, and then you got a divorce how long ago?
It was about, I have to look, it's about 8 years ago. Actually, we actually separated on Valentine's Day in 2017.
Oh my goodness, that's the day after tomorrow.
Valentine's Day is my Independence Day.
So divorce is something that is extremely frowned upon in the church. Like, you don't get a divorce unless it's like the last resort. So how did that make you feel to have 6 children with a man and then go through divorce? And did you feel shame through the church for that?
Yeah, definitely. My marriage was pretty good for the first 3 years. And after that, it started becoming problematic. And, after we've been together for about 12 or 13 years, there started to be some alcoholism, some physical abuse, and definitely coercive control for the rest of the marriage. So I definitely stayed in that marriage at least 10 years longer than I should have. But it was the old mantra of stay for the kids. And also just the church expectation that you have to have a husband to get into heaven. You have to have a husband in order to even get sealed to your children. And so I lived with this anxiety all the time. If one of my kids died, and I did have a miscarriage at one point, which devastated me, because I was like, I'm not sealed to my husband, so this baby doesn't get to be mine in heaven. It was devastating to have that hanging over me all the time. So that was a lot of the reason why I stayed for a long time. And I remember somebody saying at some point that the only real acceptable reasons for divorce were like the 4 A's. It was abuse, addiction, abandonment, and I can't remember what the other one was. And I was like, well, I've got all of those if you think about emotional abandonment. But I didn't get divorced because, after I went through some of the abuse and he went through alcoholism, he actually stopped drinking. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe we're good now and I can just stick this out. And it wasn't until I went to therapy after those panic attacks due to my conversation with my dad. And I actually went to therapy because I was like, I want to repair my relationship with my parents. I want to find out why that relationship is not good. I want to, fix whatever happened to me in my childhood. At this time, I hadn't even admitted to myself that I had been sexually abused. I was still pretending like that didn't happen. And so I was going to therapy to repair my relationship with my parents. But what kept coming up over and over was my marriage, my marriage, my marriage. And so I started recognizing with the help of my therapist, I had words now to put on the relational patterns that were happening between me and my former spouse. Narcissistic abuse came up, and coercive control came up, and emotional abuse came up. And for the first time, I had words to say what was happening. And so I went to my bishop because I didn't know what to do. I was like discovering for the first time that I was in an abusive relationship. And so I went to my bishop and I said, what should I do? I'm in an abusive relationship. And he said, well, describe to me what's happening right now. And I talked about how, my former spouse would isolate me. He wouldn't let me have friends. I wasn't allowed to socialize. I couldn't be on the phone for very long with my sister. He would belittle me, put me down, make me feel like I wasn't smart, like I wasn't capable. And when I finished describing these aspects of emotional abuse, my bishop said, well, sometimes I say things to my wife that I don't really mean. And that doesn't mean that I don't love her.
Oh my gosh.
And I just sort of went,
gosh.
okay. And I, it's really, it was okay though, because in that moment, I just said to myself, I'm just learning about these things for the very first time and I'm experiencing them. So I understand why someone else doesn't really know what this means. And he's a software designer. This guy's not trained in mental health in any way at all,
But you're kind of asking him to be that though.
I was asking him for advice. Like, what do I do if I'm in an abusive marriage? Is it okay for me to leave or not? Should I stay? Should I, what should I do? And so, I went home. I prayed about it and I sent him an email with a little graphic that is like the abuse and coercive control wheel. And it showed
abuse and coercive control wheel. When I was on the back porch just now, you said something else, girl. It's not just Mormon girls, women who go through some of the stuff you're talking about. It's not about breaking away from a church indoctrinated stuff. I didn't need the therapist to make me recognize what I had been in because I knew what I had been in. What the therapist, actually it was a doctor, a certified medical doctor that I finally went to. And I sat there for hours with this guy, unpacked a whole lot of shit, Megan, that I didn't know that was really that big of a deal. I'm just like, I got all this anxiety, I can't sleep, I don't know what's going on. And at the end of that session, he says, ma'am, calmly, you have post-traumatic stress syndrome, anxiety disorder, and chronic social anxiety disorder. And I looked at him and puzzled. And I said, I don't have PTSD. I haven't been to war. He said, did you just hear everything you just told me? And I literally had to lean back in my chair and take a deep breath and soak in what that man just told me. So for you to sit up there and pretend that it's just you and maybe just a Mormon thing, I think a lot of us out here might think differently than that. It's just a thought. Are your courses just for Mormon women?
Those like financial abuse, emotional abuse, like all the different ways that
we might need to refer some women to help, and we don't want to steer them in the wrong direction.
Can be abused. And I sent that to him in an email and I said, hopefully next time someone comes into your office with these problems, you'll be able to understand that this is really serious. This is not, this is not just somebody saying unkind things to me occasionally, And so I kind of just had to be on my own and make that decision on my own. And I kept praying about it and I kept feeling this absence of thought, right? And this is what we're told as Mormons, is that we're supposed to make a decision. The counsel is study it out in your mind and then ask God if it's right. So we're supposed to study it out, consider everything, make our decision and take that decision to God. And if it's the right thing, then you'll feel that warm, wonderful feeling. And if it's the wrong thing, you'll have like a blank mind. They call it a stupor of thought, right?
A stupor of thought? So if you pray about it and don't get the warm, fuzzy feeling, God's not listening, or God's not approving, God's not putting a seal on it, what are we doing? are you doing, Jesus? That what they have to do in their religion? Oh, wow. There is a lot to unpack with that religion that I don't got the time for that. I got a really important murder trial to cover coming up on Monday, Megan. A lot of mental health to unpack in that case. It's a very sad case. We're going to try to understand it, though. We're going to do our best to understand it. And tomorrow we'll meet back up here and try to unpack a little document to maybe get there a little bit. We'll see. We'll see.
Won't be able to
Depends on my mood, girl.
remember what you were even asking for. And every time I asked if it was okay for me to leave, I would have that blank brain. And I'm absolutely certain at this time now, knowing what I know about trauma and recovery, I call it my trauma brain. Anytime I have a thought or a feeling that contradicts the programming that I grew up with,
Programming. I was right about the deprogramming part. Okay, thank you. Noted.
that
I had that one time, Megan. They wanted me to take medicine. You can sleep. You can take this for sleep, and we know you're not depressed, but take this for depression because it will help with that anxiety. Because I'm good. I'm a happy-go-lucky person, but I'm like always sitting on edge. It feels like, right? Well, take this. I didn't have depression, Megan, but that's what they wanted me to do. So then I was like, you know what? Well, maybe I'll go talk to that one lady, that therapy. I'll keep asking, do I want to do this? Every time I go to get my little doctor medicine thingy, do you want to go? Fine, why not? And 2 sessions in, the woman sat there and said, you could be the therapist. I'm like, yeah, I don't know why I'm here, actually. So didn't go back after that one. And realized I didn't need that medicine to stop the anxiety. I have other tools now.
was instilled in me as an abuse survivor, the programming that was instilled in me by my former spouse, that I was not smart, intelligent, capable, strong, that I was weak. All of that programming, if I think a thought or say a thing that is contrary to that programming, my mind goes blank. And it's even to the point where a lot of times in therapy, I would say something and my therapist would validate it. And I would say, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Because I didn't even hear what you just said. I can't remember what you just said. And you said it 3 seconds ago. So it took me a long time to get to the point where I felt empowered enough to make a decision. And it just so happened, that through a series of different events, I came to the realization that we were repeating the same unhealthy cycles in our relationship. And one of the particular sticking points was that he would accuse me of lying to him, and I would do everything I could to explain to him that I was telling the truth. And I would even have proof sometimes, and he still wouldn't believe me. And I would go, okay, well, I don't know what to do about this. And then we would just go on with our lives. And, we were in couples counseling for the 3rd time. It was not going well because we kept talking about surface level issues. And we were never talking about any of the root causes. And anytime I would bring up the abuse or the alcoholism, he would say, well, that was years ago. Can you just forget that? Like, I've moved on. Let's move on. So it wasn't going well. I didn't think that we were making any progress. And it just so happened that we, got into an argument because he thought that I was lying to him about something. And something just clicked. With all this therapy I was going
They got into it because he thought she was lying about something. Lord.
going through, I was like, you know what? I don't think this is ever going to change. I don't think he's ever going to change because we've been through this cycle so many times. And I keep hearing him repeat the same complaints and words and phrases over and over. And I've changed immensely since I've been in therapy. I've learned so much. I've changed so many unhealthy thought patterns and
I mean, I guess it would be compounded to be in that type of relationship and trying to become aware, hey, this is abuse and all the things. Also couple in your strict upbringing. I guess it was a load there. I guess it is a little harder for you.
talk and all that kind of thing, but he hasn't changed at all. And I don't think he's going to. And so I just confronted him with that truth. And I said, I'm not willing to go through this cycle again. And the next day was Valentine's Day, and we had an appointment with our therapist, our marriage therapist. And so we went to that appointment, but I insisted that we take separate cars because I was like, if this doesn't go well, I don't want to be stuck in the car on the ride home with him trying to hoover me back into the relationship. So we took separate cars. We went, we sat down, and I told the therapist, this poor lady in her mid-30s, young and idealistic, had become
Her poor therapist, young and idealistic. In her early 30s, she's like, oh, good God, Megan Connor, you and your hubby are a lot. Is that what happened? Or she give you good advice? Let's see. Let's find out. Intriguing. We're getting a life story. I don't know if Megan, I think Megan's unpacked her past several places. She did it here with her pal Joe as well.
a marriage therapist because her parents got divorced and she was trying to fix and save everybody's marriage, and
Hold on. Your therapist's parents divorced, so her trauma is now causing her to try to fix everybody's marriage. Damn it. Did she come out of Cali too? It's one of them therapists asking for a friend. It's a trend and all.
we sat down with her and I said, look, this is what happened over the weekend. We had an argument. He accused me of lying again. I can't go through that cycle again. I'm just done. I don't have it in me to do this anymore. And I want to be done. And she asked my former spouse how he was feeling about that. And of course, he was devastated and he was near tears, which he only cried maybe twice in our whole marriage.
Oh.
And so that made me feel terrible and made me want to not, break up with him.
I made him cry for the second time ever. I can't leave this man.
And he turned to me and he said, do you think there's any chance that we could reconcile? And the empath in me, the people pleaser in me, the forgiving, loving, Christ-like part of me wanted to say, yes, if you do this, this, and this, we can reconcile and we can, figure this out. But I had done that so many times. And it was the very first time in my life that I made a choice that I knew was going to hurt other people, my spouse, my children, my parents, my church community. And I chose me for the first time in my life.
We all should choose ourselves. And a happy, whole relationship comes with two people who bring no baggage to the table. Baggage is an unhealed bullshit. Crazy exes, unruly children.
And it was scary, but also I felt nothing but relief after making that choice. I knew it was the right choice.
Yeah, that's so powerful. That is so powerful. And the thing that strikes me about your story there is the response that you got from your bishop compared to the response that you got from your marriage counselor lady. Like two completely different responses that would have led you in different directions, right?
Yeah.
The bishop would have led her in a different direction. We know Joe.
Yeah. And she actually was devastated. I can't, pretend to know exactly how she felt, but she actually, when I made the decision and I said, no, there's no chance, she said, well, I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes alone.
What was in that cup?
And I'm going
He didn't have Joe doesn't have to cover up his beverage.
to go get some water for you. And when she came back, she had very clearly been crying. And so I felt really terrible for her.
Yeah.
And I've often wondered if we were the first ones to break up in her office during a session.
That's so funny. As a marriage therapist, there's probably been many arguments and breakups happening in that office. Megan, it's not just you, girlfriend. You're not the first. It's me, Megan. I'm the first of everything.
So I felt terrible about that for a long time, but I hope she's still practicing.
I was the empath and you came out and you felt horrible for her, right? So bad.
I hope she learned something important from that.
Yes, hope she recovered from it.
It's important.
Because
it's important to learn from something and move forward.
You clearly have.
Yes, I definitely have.
Yes. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room.
What?
Let's talk about...
What's the elephant in the room? I wonder. I can only imagine what the elephant in the room could be. Let's find out if we're right. Could it be Lori fucking Vallow? Is she the elephant in the room? Oh, yeah. Megan's cousin. Oh, yeah.
Your cousin.
Oh.
She's been tried and convicted in Idaho.
Yep.
Sentenced to 3 life sentences. They took the death penalty off the table because the prosecutor didn't provide discovery, I think. There was some kind of a legal issue where they took the death
It was a legal issue. I told you all about it.
penalty off the table, or that might have been a thing. It might have been. But now she's on trial in Arizona for conspiring to...
Brian Koberger's attorney liked to refer to that little thing there that happened in Idaho with Lori Vallow. She sure did. She's fighting a death penalty case, and Lori Vallow got hers removed. Prosecutorial misconduct. It didn't work for Ann Taylor, though. They learned their lesson.
Kill her then husband,
Yes.
Charles Vallow, and her niece's husband also, I think, is the second case.
Yes. Yeah. There was an attempted shooting. Melanie Boudreau, Pulowski now, she was married to Brandon Boudreau at the time. And there was an attempted shooting that, thank goodness, he was not harmed.
No.
But that will be the second trial in Arizona is the attempted shooting of Brandon Boudreau.
Right, and that's the one she just filed a motion to have the case dismissed because it's taking too long. But anyway, so She's your cousin. I mean, how much do you remember growing up with her?
I remember a lot. I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, I have an extraordinarily good memory, and I have very vivid memories of spending time with the Cox family when I was.
Does she take vitamins for her memory? She's got an extraordinarily good memory on top of everything else. Damn. Sometimes I'm like, I can't remember what happened a few minutes ago sometimes. Fuck. Megan. Anyway, she's got a really good memory and she's sharp. She's sharp. So she remembers it all growing up, every little detail, all the Lori stuff, how the families were. And I don't know, I guess her and Joe, just the fascination. It's one thing to interview somebody about, say, Lori Vallow, because I true crime all the time. I have no problem looking into what these people are. It's not just Lori Vallow I do it with. I do it with every single one of the cases I cover. The fascination with some of these killers is weird across the board, hands down across the board. I've seen it in every case I cover. There's a weird fascination develops about the defendant, good or bad. It happens. In some y'all notice there's certain channels out there that are like one case. Joe didn't want to cover nobody but Lori Vallow. That was a high profile case. He's out there covering it. And they're after Lori, though, because taking some advice from Lauren over there at HTC. Do you, Joe? Do your channel. You go cover the things nobody's covering. She's like, I don't need no extra competition, my guy. Shit's about to hit the fan. Girls are getting funky down here in Indiana. I got a problem going on, dude. I don't, just whatever, Joe, whatever. Yeah, nice to meet you. Sorry I struck you, all that kind of shit. It's weird. And I don't know. When Lauren told him all that, after that, he tells me, well, I don't want to cover these high profile cases because everybody's covering them. I want to go cover the stuff nobody's covering. Like, okay, well, then he found London Valdez, right? And that's all he's done is Lori Vallow and her. He sprinkled a couple things in there. That was it. Nothing in depth. So to me, it was building the channel on the back of Lori because he grew quickly to his 3,000 subs that he's got while covering Lori Vallow. And I was still covering Karen Reed trial. Remember, we covered the Karen Reed trial. We did cover Lori's stuff too, and her trials. But I didn't cover all the lead up to Lori's trial. And I let Joe do all of that because he was doing it on his channel. I felt, well, if I go live and do this Lori Vallow thing, it's like going to look kind of weird. Is it going to be weird? So I'm like, whatever. He's doing it all over there. But when I would tune in, the facts weren't there. And I would ask questions or try to point stuff out. And it was like, so I just couldn't. So I didn't feel like I needed to do anything right. I just didn't want to. There was a lot out there. And I felt like at some point, let her go, right? It's weird that the fascination that develops with some of these people. And then the manipulation tactics we see them use to keep it going. Right? We see it with Web Sleuth. She can't ever let it go. Every year she's got to make sure we are aware of Chad and Lori. Megan has to make sure we're all aware of Lori at all times, her dumb cousin. Joe, I don't know. If it was a natural, true obsession or if it's his first true crime boots on the ground, other than Delphi, right? He did do his little trial days at Delphi for a couple of days. That was it. Did some boots on the ground work there, video and stuff, but it was nothing in depth at all. He couldn't have hung out there in Crank Nation. It wouldn't have happened. Because you already were playing with fire out there, weren't you, Joe Schmo? You played with fire, which really pissed me off because you knew fucking better, but you played with fire. That, to me, was the biggest red flag I'd ever seen in my life come out of you. And that's when I really put the brakes on that day. Whoa, I fucking run a truck into the wall kind of thing. When you pulled that stunt. But that was after all this kicked off, and I think you did it on purpose to get me to, you tried to sick the devil on me, didn't you, Joe? Should I go into detail? It might trigger the devil if I do.
Younger, under the age of 12, every summer we would go to to the Cox's house and spend a couple of weeks during the summer. And that was always a time we really looked forward to because California was fun. There were theme parks. You know, the Coxes had lots of money. They had a pool in their backyard. They had fancy cars. They had racehorses. So we loved spending time at their house in the summer.
She just described Lori Vallow's upbringing. Lori's over here, hey, cuz, my life is grand out here in Cali. We got money and pools and horses and shit. Come on down, Megan. Spend the summer with us. It's fun.
And it was something we looked forward to. And
So
then,
what? Yeah, go ahead. No, you
No,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, after we moved to Connecticut, we couldn't visit them every summer after that, but twice my older brother and I went on our own.
Is he must be fascinated. He's all into her story and just letting her go on and on and on and on. And he's as soon as he met Lauren and Grayson, he was just as like infatuated, like almost, right? And I'm not going to speak on his relationship with Kresha because I don't know how that was. All I know is they were hosting shows together, co-hosting, and they were friends. That I tuned into the shows. Remember, he modded me and my mods up without asking. So Jesus Christ. But yeah, I don't know much about what all that, except I would walk away from those shows feeling a little confused if I could blame the LDS for Lori and Chad or not. It was very confusing.
To the Coxes to just be with our cousins. They were our favorite cousins.
And that wasn't on Kresha, by the way. Let me make that clear.
We spent, a week each of those two times that my older brother and I went there. And then after I graduated from high school, I went to the University of Connecticut for just one semester, and then my family moved down to Texas. And I couldn't really stay up there by myself. And so I asked, Lori and Adam were living in Austin at the time, and I asked if I could move in with them for a little while until I just decided what I was going to do with my life. So I lived with them for a few.
She's told this story all over the place about how she grew up and then how she grew up going to Lori's every summer and how she, moved in. So if y'all haven't heard it, is it the speed okay for everybody? So we can take in her little story about Lori. Because if you listen to her over time talk about her cousin Lori from their childhood, it's like she idolized Lori. Like Lori was the big cousin to be, right? She's pretty, her hair's gorgeous, she's got the laughter, people love her, Lori's entertaining, Lori's outgoing, Lori was all the things maybe you wished you were, but you were like that little withdrawn girl because of the trauma. Anyway, and then Lori turned out to be Lori. Don't you know that was probably devastating, right? The woman I idolized my entire childhood that I wanted to be, it can do all that. What's that say about me? What does that say about me? Did you look in the mirror and ask yourself that question that one day, Megan? Is that what started your journey? Like that oh shit moment? Am I like that? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Months.
She seems riddled with envy. Oh God, not this story again. More y'all, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm ignoring my chat. Y'all know better than y'all know I don't do that, but y'all know I'm trying to focus. Okay. Yeah, the story. It's too close for comfort. I know butterfly. Like, get out of my butterfly state, ma'am. We don't need it. Don't turn the bugs loose and shit out there. Get out of there. Don't come to Florida. We're full. She could throw a dart at the map and take her pick kind of thing. Does that web sleuth chick own that house she lives in, y'all? I have never wondered that. I don't care about I don't care. I got real curious, though, when I saw that the saran wrap on the coffee cup. I was like, is that hot broth or something? Is she not feeling well? Throat issues? What are we doing? Trying to keep it hot, steamy? Is there soup in the cup? Yeah. She's got to be 24-hour live stream. I don't know. Was that live stream? I don't know when it was. I saw that. Anyway, people were telling me it's because there was bugs in the house. Are we going to see bugs crawling on the wall one day accidentally? Does she own it? Can she move? I don't know. I'm getting sidetracked again.
And then
I got bored. I got bored with Megan. See, when I get bored, my thoughts wander, and I will ramble to myself in the backyard, y'all, out loud. I'm not lying. Not even lying.
He was a bridesmaid at my wedding, and Her oldest son, Colby, is just a little bit younger than my oldest daughter, and they spent a lot of time together. We would take them to the Target
It's my other feral friend coming in hot.
photo studio and get pictures of them taken together like they were brother and sister. And they spent a lot of time together. And then Janice and Barry, Lori's parents, moved here to San Antonio and lived here for about 8 years. And during that time, Alex lived here for a while.
You know what they say about misery, right? It loves company. And I don't like those kind of parties. It's not fun. They're a downer. They're Debbie Downers.
And he and I spent some time together. And again, every holiday, birthday, general conference twice a year, we were over at the Cox's house because they had a pool and a hot tub. And Barry loved showing off his big house, his fancy cars, and his big screen TV.
And she forgets her clothing size. There was a time Lauren had a thingy partnership. God, this is a long time ago. I don't know if she still does it, where they would get. She had some kind of partnership. They were providing her wardrobe and her clothing, and she would brag about it in videos. Like she don't like doing her laundry and all that. Lauren ain't got time for all that domestic stuff, y'all. Like taking care of the kid, the house, and the husband. No. I got to go to work. I need my clothes. Anyway, they would provide her with the clothing she would wear on you. She'd wear it on her live stream or whatever. Her show. Don't know if she still does that or not.
So we spent a lot of time over there for the 10 years that they lived here in San Antonio.
I need one of them partnerships. Like, hey, can y'all give me some clothes I might cam up so I can wear them and test them out for you? Push the product for you.
So that was her dad?
Yes.
Okay. And Alex was her brother, and he is now deceased.
Yeah.
And he is the one that actually literally shot Charles Vallow to death.
Right.
And is supposedly partially responsible, or more than less responsible, for being involved with the kid's death up in Idaho, right?
Yeah.
He was at Chad's house up there. So
yeah.
Let's talk about your relationship with Lori when you were growing up. Like, did you notice anything unusual about her characteristics, about how she was? Like, was she different then? Did you notice any traits of narcissism back then?
Yeah, when we were kids, she was just a bubbly, happy, bright, smiley, shiny, blonde-haired kid, and we had lots of fun together. There were things about the Cox family that were odd to me. They seemed to be a lot more relaxed about their Mormonism than my parents were, certainly. Things like, they didn't mind going shopping on Sundays, going out to restaurants on Sundays. That was not something we did. Barry one time took me and Lori and Summer to go see Rambo, which is a rated R movie. And I think I was only like 8 or 9 years old at the time. And so that was not something my parents ever would have done. They were constantly, tanning out by the pool. They argued a lot openly, which my parents argued behind closed doors. They talked a lot about sex and sexual things. I didn't notice that until I was probably 12, 13, 14 years old. But even
Lori Vallow's upbringing and lifestyle out there in California, no shade to California, is not that. They didn't live in the same state, right? So Lori, her cousin's upbringing and lifestyle at home was very different, although they were Mormon. They're just California Mormon. I don't know if there's I don't know. They were just, I guess Lori was always a different kind of Mormon, right, than what Megan was. Different intensities and I don't know. Lori's pretty into it. Jesus talks to her. So I don't know. Megan, whatever. She's confusing a little bit.
And so it was not something discussed in my household. So just things, not just Lori and Alex, but also, Summer and Adam, they all talked about each other's bodies.
Oh.
Adam and Lori got body shamed as younger kids because they were a little bit chubbier. They were always, grabbing each other's body parts, like squeezing each other's chest or butt, or, talking about each other.
What? Megan, Lori's, did that happen to you when you were at Lori's? Was you getting squeezed on at Lori's all summer? Or just Lori and her brothers would squeeze on each other? What are we doing, Megan? You just watched it all going, oh my God, and clutched your pearls? You didn't say, Mom and Dad, I don't want to go back. They're weird. They're not like y'all. They're touching themselves and grabbing on each other and saying things I don't understand.
There's body.
Making me feel some type of way.
It was just not what I was used to at home at all. And so there were all those kind of weird things happening that I just logged as cognitive.
Colby said he doesn't. This was when when they were children, right? When Megan was a young girl growing up, in the summer, she would go visit the Cox family over in California. Her older cousin, Lori, and her brothers, right? And Lori's mom and dad. So this is when they were children, before Colby was ever born, right? This is when that she's talking to us about right now.
Dissonance. Like, I didn't know why a good Mormon family would be acting that way, but I didn't have any framework for, how to put that. And
she had no framework for why a good Mormon family would behave the way theirs did, right? So that's not a good Mormon family. So she knew from a young age Lori wasn't right. Well, we're going to learn a little bit more, maybe. Joe's just into it.
To answer your question about narcissism, it wasn't until we were teenagers that I started to notice ways in which Lori would be controlling. She would get her way, come hell or high water. She, whatever she wanted is what happened. That got done, and I fell into that as well because.
So, like the California Mormon, they're not as strict, right, with some of their things, right? There's all religions are like that. The people who may be religious, but they're not totally bought into everything they want us to. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I can understand it. They were a little more, it was California, guys. Come on. They're a little ahead of their time out there. It all starts out in California and makes its way across the country. Hadn't you heard? Let's go back to the 70s and check shit out.
I liked Lori. I looked up to her. She was beautiful. She was a cheerleader. She was in charge. And I didn't feel like I really had a voice.
Megan had no voice, but Lori was in charge. Beautiful cheerleader
in my family. And so,
but plays touchy-feely with her brothers.
I wanted to be special and important to the person who was special and important, if that makes sense. So
Lori was special and important to her, so she wanted to be special and important to Lori. Did I understand that correctly? Hey, Molly, Colleen, welcome in. And Maury, welcome. And Bethy, if I didn't say hi to you, welcome in. Welcome into everybody who is joining me. What in the grabassery? I don't know if she's currently married or not. I think she remarried after her first marriage, but I'm not positive. I didn't follow all her trauma.
Whenever I was in a situation with Lori where she wanted, me or the three of us, me, Lori, and Summer, to do something, well, we did it because we didn't want to make her mad. We didn't want to
Well, this is an old interview, Deanne, so the crossover audiences, just was when Joe was just meeting her, and he's ex-Mormon too. They linked up through Trace on the case. During the Lori Vallow hearing, Trace says, hey, Joe, check out this Megan Connor channel. You gotta love it. And he did, and found it a safe place to land as an ex-Mormon. And so he brings her on his newly formed channel thing. I don't even know how long he'd been on the line since when this happened. Anyway, so he interviews her. He brings Megan on and just lets her have the floor. He asks a couple of questions.
Get made fun of by her or by...
Actually, he just says, I can understand that, and they move on.
Alex, especially, because he was always making fun of people. So I recognize now that Lori was very manipulative that way. She would get what she...
He wanted to bring his audience information about Lori Vallow, right? That was Joe's end game here. I'm bringing on a family member of Lori Vallow, while I'm also friends or forming a friendship, or I don't know, with the victim's family of Lori Vallow. Now, I understand that Crescia and Megan were friendly. But if you're going to have a true crime channel, in my opinion, and cover many cases, you need to be careful about what you're doing. And there's some things I've avoided doing because I didn't want to hurt Crescia if she saw something on scrolling, or I don't want to make it. I don't want to feel icky about it. Let me put it that way. And if it feels icky, I can't do it. This don't really feel that icky because I feel like I'm I'm not sure how to process it yet. Megan, I got to figure that part out. I got to process. We're deprogramming and processing.
wanted, and if she didn't, she would shame you or she would make fun of you.
And I was just rambling. So, okay, Megan, we'll let you ramble.
Or she would get mad at you, and none of us wanted that.
So you and Lori and Summer were a trio a lot?
Yeah, not until, my older teenage years. It was like those 2 visits.
So you, Lori, and Summer were a trio. He leans in. Tell me more about Lori Vallow. What kind of hair care products does she use? Can you get hair color in prison, Salty? Looks like Lori dyed her hair.
It's where my brother and I went together, that Lori and Summer and I would hang out, because Lori's 1 year older than me and Summer is 1 year younger than me.
And who is Summer?
Summer is Lori. She's the youngest of the Cox kids.
He says, "Who's Summer? I'm not familiar." Really, sir? Homework much? Oh, that's right. Research is too much. Can you send it to me?
She's
I don't have a producer like that Grayson chick that I'm going to meet in the future.
Okay.
Lori's youngest sister. She
Okay.
testified, I think, in both trials.
Gotcha. So where did you grow up in the church? What area?
All over the
generally
place.
speaking?
Yeah, my dad was in the Air Force, so I was born in
Oh, okay.
California, but we only lived there a short time. We lived 2 different places in Louisiana, and then we moved to South Dakota when he worked for Citibank. So all of those places were within driving distance.
Oh, she was also in the military, had to move all the time, changing schools and stuff. All added stress, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't raised in the military, but I had a lot of kids come through my schools that were, because we're a military town, basically. Very large military presence, actually. A lot of kids. I always wondered, because that sucks when you have to move when you're a kid. We all know it.
Of California. So that's why we'd go visit in the
trauma.
summers. And then I did middle school, high school years in Connecticut, and then I've been in San Antonio ever since then.
Okay. So there's something that's called the Mormon
She two-stepped her way down to San Antonio.
Belt, right? That's like Idaho through Utah and down into Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh, he is so analytical about stuff like that. I've wondered about. Never mind. Yeah, he's got to go through the. He's got to visualize it.
And I grew up in the Mormon church in the Midwest, and Midwest Mormons and the Midwest.
Oh, he's going to unpack the differences of the Mormons for me so I can understand the different regions. Is that what's about to happen? Am I about to get an education? Exactly, Simi. Like, what the fuck, Joe? What do you mean, who's Summer? Like that one time he was reviewing Tylee's interview with the police and says, I wonder if she's going to be called to testify. And I'm sitting there going, what? Joe, Tylee? The victim? Nah. She's not coming to testify, Joe.
The way we observe the church rules there can be different than, the Mormon
Utah,
Belt.
the Mormon Belt,
Yes, yes, right. So it sounds like that's kind of what you experienced. That you said the Cox family was in Southern California.
Yeah, at that time, in my youngest years, that's where it was, and that's how I logged it. I was like, okay, this is California Mormonism, got it.
So,
and that laughter on fast speed's a little weird. So I guess there is a difference per region for your Mormonism. Okay, I'll accept it.
That's where Lori grew up. She grew up with those rules and under apparently different rules than you and I grew up with. How do you think that affected?
That's got to be confusing, though, for Mormonism as a whole. If everywhere you move, if you have to move, has a different set of rules to follow. Right? What if you get transferred from your home in Utah to like California, for instance, and you get out there and shock phase happens because, whoa, we got a new set of rules to live by now under this new set of Mormonism. I can be a little more loosey-goosey out here in Cali, a little more acceptable. All right.
How she eventually turned out and how she eventually connected with Chad.
Exactly, Forrest. You do remember, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got modded up over there without,
I grew up in the Mormon church and I never ever heard the word zombie a single time when I grew up.
Yeah.
Really? Not one single time. He's like, no zombie, no zombie. Like, well, you may not have ever heard of it as a Mormon, but I sure did. Remember I told you about that website I found that one time? Remember? I was like, whoa, this shit's weird. It's the Mormons prepping for the end of time and with the return of the zombies. They're prepping list and things you need to do to get ready for the zombies. I was like, they legit doing this? Not the LDS Mormons, like official ones. I guess it was one of them fringe groups. I get the prepper groups. I get the end of time groups. I get it. Hey, we don't know. We just don't know. But the zombies. I mean, they go through a whole fucking list of what kind of groceries you're going to need and how many you're going to need to survive on how many days. In case some zombies come back to get your ass. And your kids might be a zombie one day, right? You two up here, he's never heard of zombies in his life, but yet Lori claims everybody on her list was a zombie or some shit. Okay, I need to go check on the puppies. I'll be back in a second. I'm kind of getting a headache though.
How did she evolve into that? How did Chad evolve into that?
Yeah, so I think personally that probably the single biggest influence on Lori and her worldview is her dad, Barry. Barry absolutely believed that he was above the law. He believed in not paying his taxes. He sued the IRS. He represented himself in that lawsuit. He ended up serving time for tax evasion. He also was an estate planner, but he didn't have a law license. And you have to have a law license to do estate planning. And so he was given a cease and desist by the state of Arizona. You know, this was more recently, but it absolutely points to a pattern that Barry believes he's above the law. He believes that he's entitled, he's special and important. He used to make comments about the lower 95 whenever he was talking about what some people today would call sheeple, you know, like just the people who follow and have their blinders on and don't really think very much. And he believed that he was he and his family were in the top 5%, you know, the most attractive, the smartest. And so he has that worldview, very narcissistic traits, you know, and so I think what we're seeing in court right now with Lori representing herself, with her believing the law doesn't apply to her, I think a lot of that worldview came from Barry and from her upbringing in that kind of household. Also, in Mormonism, there is sort of this thing that not a lot of people talk about where, you know, of course, we know that women don't hold a priesthood in the Mormon church, but also we're also taught to seek for greater light and knowledge. We're also taught to go and seek out our own spiritual experiences. And so I think that also lent itself to, you know, to Lori couldn't be special or important or powerful in her own family system, wasn't really acceptable in Mormonism because she had several marriages, none of which were in the temple. And so I think there was a lot of her upbringing in her young adulthood where she wanted to feel special and important, but wasn't getting that kind of validation in her family system and wasn't really checking the Mormon boxes. So she wasn't getting validation in the Mormon world either. So I think we have to look at her worldview coming from the house of, and I call it the cult of Cox, you know, Barry's household. And she definitely played a role in that family system. I think she's kind of the golden child there. She wasn't really held accountable for her manipulation or called out for any of her bad behavior. Of course, none of the kids really were, as far as I know, but I see that especially with Lori, with her mom being very dismissive and saying, oh, she's not hurting anybody with these crazy beliefs, just leave her alone. You know, rather than stepping in and saying, okay, this kind of sounds like mental illness to me, you know, when she was saying she was an exalted being. And I think most of all, Janice was proud of Lori. I know she was because I saw a social media post about it. She was proud of Lori for going to the temple every single day. She touted that. She saw that as a marker of, you know, righteousness. And for those of us who are in the church, where we're counseled to go to the church or go to the temple once a month if we possibly can, but most people don't go more than once a year. So for somebody to be going every single day, that's concerning. That's religious zealotry, you know? So then the other kind of turning point is that around the 2012, 13, 14-ish timeframe, there was a lot of talk in the church in the South. I'm talking about, you know, Texas, Arizona are the areas that I was aware of about near-death experiences. And that was about the same time that the book Visions of Lori came out. And so Lori definitely had a huge interest in near-death experiences. And in Arizona, they were doing all of these conferences, these prepper conferences for the end of days. And I think she got swept up in that movement. And she loved the book Visions of Lori so much that I've been told by many people that she carried that book around with her. It was highlighted and dog-eared. She quoted from it like it was scripture, and she even had it with her when she was served the papers by the police to produce her children in Hawaii. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and, you know, I don't know how much you know about that book or your audience does, but I went on Mormon Stories with Lauren Matthias of Hidden True Crime and Mindy Caldwell, and we did literally an 8-hour unpack of that book and how harmful it is. It does talk about spirits inhabiting bodies. There are several instances where someone is sinning. They're either watching pornography or they're drinking or doing something else bad. And a rip appears in the top of their soul and an evil spirit enters their body trying to experience humanity, trying to experience the feelings that you would have in a body. And so that book and Tom Harrison, who is the one who had the quote unquote visions, touts this idea that evil spirits can inhabit bodies. sometimes for a short time, sometimes for a long time. So that's really, I think, where Lori got that idea from, and Chad as well. So my theory is that Lori and Chad met online at the Avow website. It's a doomsday prepper website. It's actually been labeled as a terrorist organization, a nationalist organization, because they are so extremist, and they're really promoting the idea that there's going to be a civil war, and their whole mission and goal is to prepare people for that eventuality. And Chad was on that website talking about his books and his near-death experiences. And the founder of the Avow website, Christopher Perrett, put a lot of Chad's blogs and his writings behind a paywall. And so you could pay extra to chat privately with him. And I think that's where he and Lori met, actually, is on that website, probably a long time before they ever met in person in 2018. So I think that Lori's affinity for near-death experiences, Chad claiming to have those experiences, and also, his sort of claiming to be a prophet, claiming to have downloads from heaven about the end times and what that was going to look like. Of course, Lori would want to endear herself to someone with that kind of spiritual power, especially since she never got married in the temple. She would want to have experiences with someone like that, and finally, close the Mormon loop by getting married in the temple, which Lori and Chad claimed that they went to the temple and that they were married by Moroni and that Jesus was there. And, it's all part of this huge spiritual delusion.
What?
Yeah.
Say that again. Say that again, because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Lori and Chad met in person in 2018 at a Preparing the People conference.
And was she still married to
she was
Charles?
still married to Charles, and he was still married to Tammy. And we know that they'd been in contact. They'd been emailing each other. She'd been sending him videos of her dancing. Like, they were already having an emotional affair at the very least. And so when they met in person at this conference, I guess part of it was, going to do temple sessions together. And they had a mutual friend whose name was Jason Mao, who likes to cosplay Moroni. And I personally think that they met in the temple all together one day. Chad told Lori that they'd been married in a past life. And I think Jason Mao performed some kind of a fake sealing ceremony, and they justified their affair with each other by saying, like, we were already married in a past life. We've already done this together. Our current spouses are inhabited by evil.
The past lives and all that. Do Mormons teach about the past lives? Soul contracts and things of that nature, Megan? Asking for a friend. What are we doing here with this Mormonism? From what I understood, that's your opinion on things, right? It's your opinion. That's what you think you know. It's what you think you know.
Spirits. So it's fine for us to be together spiritually and physically.
Wow.
Yeah, Lori was going on the fringe. She was getting on the deep side, right? Chad's already there. And they find one another. It's a match made in heaven, right, Megan? We know the story. But what Chad Daybell was doing was incorporating other things into his Mormonism teachings, along with the past lives experiences. And he quickly honed in on Julie Rowe, who brought a spiritual nature to the mix, let's call it that. Now we're going to open some portals, and we're going to do different things and travel in our past lives and all the things. Incorporate a little more here and a little more there. And make it our own. Let me help you out there, Megan.
How many subscribers do you have now, Megan?
Well,
Oh, yeah. Let's get into that subscriber count. Let's do it. Y'all hit the thumbs up and subscribe today. Please do. It helps a little thing called the algorithm, and YouTube seems to enjoy it.
let me look, because
And Trisha might see some thumbnails if we do, although she's not on this one. But these two might see it. Wouldn't that be nice?
at about 7 o'clock, it was.
See, Megan, I thought about it carefully before I put my thumbnail out there to the YouTube verse. I had a choice to make. I could just make the title and put the words and no pictures involved. It was totally my call. But I'm doing a little test these days. I'm doing a little social experiment on the YouTubes, girl. I am. We'll see what the analytics tell me later. I'll check, Joe. Don't worry.
10,000. So I think I'm that.
Yeah,
10,000, unless I've
awesome.
lost a few. 10,012.
Nice. Beautiful.
Oh, and if you come back in the future, I'm a true crime channel. We'll be covering the Lindsay Clancy murder trial coming up on Monday. A very important conversation to be had coming out of that trial. Like, these clowns are up here unpacking the heavy load of all that Mormonism.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm at 670 something.
Yay!
Oh, he was 670 something. What are we at right now? We didn't lose many during the fiasco. Them are a diehard fucking bunch. They're waiting on that next live stream. Hold on. Let's go look. I'm not going to take you off the screen, though. That's too much work. I don't have a producer to boss around in the background. Stacy, get your ass over here without an E. Do something for a fucking change. What's his name? Joe Schmo? 88. View channel. 3,500 and... What have we got? 3.52 subscribers, 220 videos. A bunch of shorts. Well, no. Take that back. A few. And numerous live streams. All right, Joe, you made a name for yourself out there.
How long have you had your show?
Since August. So I
That's
started the
awesome.
show in when I went to the Delphi hearings, and then
Okay.
It started when I went to Delphi. And then you had that big 1-year anniversary blowout show, right? And you invited all the people you've met along the way to come out and pat you on the back. A little ego boost. It was quite weird. And it's weird that you had a little intro. Well, your intro was always weenie to me. Like, are we about to cry every day? What are we doing here with this weird intro thing? You put a lot of people in your intro, right? Friends of the channel. Your big 1-year anniversary, friends of the channel. Where was I, Joe? Somewhere in the background, maybe? Can we go there? Should I go there with that little petty bullshit about who helped who with channels and da-da-da-da-da, and helped who promoted channels and all the stuff, Joe? Nah, that's not my game. There goes my damn loud ass dogs again.
trial.
Okay, got it.
And then I did some boots on the ground work there. In Delphi, they gave us 24 seats for the public to sit in. So you had to go stand in line at 3 o'clock in the morning for 5 hours in 36-degree weather to see that. But I named my channel Joe Schmo because I'm just an everyday Joe Schmo. Like I'm not a legal
Just an everyday Joe Schmo. And how about all you people who went to Delphi and stood in the fucking lines, quit complaining about it? We know. We appreciate your effort. A camera in the courtroom could have prevented all that, but that's a whole other fucking topic, I reckon.
expert. I'm not an ex-law enforcement or anything like that. I'm just somebody that looks at these cases and tries to objectively look at them. And this, when I got out here to the Phoenix area, it was right around the time that Lori's hearings were. So it was interesting to go into court and to see her. But getting to know her case and getting to know you and getting to know Kresha is the best part of that.
The best part of covering Lori Vallow's trials is getting to know Megan and Kresha. What was that who gifted something here? Butterfly gifted out 5 memberships. Thank you, ma'am. We miss our butterfly around here, y'all. Deanne, welcome in. I can't, if my thing will work right here. Hang on, I gotta pull my chat up this way because my thing doesn't want to work right. It's got a little mind of its own and it irritates me. Okay, who got the memberships? Faye? No? Oh, wait, go back up, girl. Joan, welcome in. Claire, Tracy, Fly my baby bird. I like that. Y'all, I'm bad. I gotta read y'all's names like twice sometimes. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Forrest, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. It's okay. It's okay, Buttweed. Don't worry. All right. Go on, Joe.
Thank you.
Let them know how much it means to have them in your life now and be friends with Kresha and Megan.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel the same way about this case. It's a tragedy and it's horrible. But what's been lovely has been, getting to adopt Kay and Larry as, aunt and uncle, and getting to adopt Kresha as a sister. And
I forgot she said that shit. Mm. All these people that loved Crescia felt like she was family now. It's the best part about covering Lori Vallow or whatever y'all are doing was getting to know Crescia. Huh. Stood up strong for Crescia, right? Both of you.
Getting to see Colby come through so many horrible things, and getting to meet so many people like you, like my channel people, your channel people, the Hidden True Crime community, the Mormon Stories community. It's been nothing like I expected. Just having so many people care so much about these kids and about this case.
Yeah.
We would have cared about the kids in the case without you two. I guarantee it. I cared long before I even knew who the fuck you two were. You want to make sure I know y'all cared the most. Okay.
So
friends with Crescia and all, right?
I guess that's where my next question goes, is Lori and Chad had this wacko offshoot of the LDS Church. How does that?
He's like a wacko offshoot. It was just a wacko offshoot. It's a one-off kind of situation because LDS aren't that bad. Right, Megan?
Result in JJ and Tylee ending up unalived. How did we get to there?
Yeah, so we talked about visions of glory a little bit and the concept that that evil spirits can inhabit the body. And there's a part sort of near the end of the book where they're talking about this period of time before the Savior comes, where they're gathering the 144,000. That's where this idea sort of comes from for Lori, that there are gatherers, the 7 gatherers, maybe we can say. And there's a part in the book where Spencer is the man who this story is about, written by Tom Harrison. Tom Harrison is still practicing as a mental health professional endorsed by the church. He is one of the people who gets to decide if missionaries are mentally fit to serve foreign service missions. So soak that in just a little bit. He wrote this crazy book that has influenced not only Chad and Lori, but also Jody Hildebrand and Ruby Franke, also Tim Ballard, also Ken Krogh, who is another.
All them people? So it's not just y'all were badly influenced, it's a whole bunch of people. Okay.
Therapist who was.
I'm trying to figure it all out, y'all. I don't know. I told y'all I'd walk away confused all the time. Good, bad, I don't know. Maybe it's not for me to figure out. But they keep trying to figure out what's wrong with Lori, so.
Arrested for abuse. He's met privately with all of these people and has influenced all of these people, and he is still practicing in the church. And
the only one that can come close to unpacking what's really going on in that fucking weird ass head of hers is her son, Colby Ryan, who was literally birthed by the woman, raised by the woman, knows her better than anybody on the fucking face of the earth. I'm willing to go listen to Colby about his mom over anybody else.
And in mental health spaces as well. So just put that in your pocket for a little bit. So
we put stuff in our pockets all the time. We know when to dig them out too.
In the book, towards the end, during the end times,
check your pockets before you do the laundry.
Preparing the 144,000. Spencer is a gatherer, and he's been given special powers. He can use portals to travel. That's where Chad and Lori get that idea as well. And he's, traveling with this group of people, gathering everybody to this one location. And what I call the smoking gun of Visions of Glory is that while they're traveling, in the book, it says we had a rule that we followed, or a law that we followed. It was not a rule, but a law, that if we could tell that someone was past feeling, or in other words, they were so unrighteous that they were never going to repent, that we were allowed to deliver them from this mortal life. And their death would be a blessing to them.
They teach y'all that? For real? Or is she talking about or Chad and Lori's stuff?
Because then they would not accumulate any more sin on their divine ledger. That's almost a direct quote from that book. So
what Lori claims. Huh. Interesting.
What we're talking about is justifiable homicide. What we're talking about is people.
Hey, but Lori's just a bitch out for some money and sex, right? That's all it was, Salty. There's nothing involved. That chick just wanted some fucking payout, money, and run off to Hawaii with this weird-ass man. That's all it was. Okay. But why are we still unpacking what's wrong with Lori? If that's all it was.
who believe that they have special spiritual power, being able to discern whether or not someone will repent. And if they believe that you will not repent, then they're okay to unalive you.
Oh my
And
God.
that's where I think that concept came from. I think that's how.
So they taught them that? My suspicion was right. The baseline came from what they were taught by the religion. And then they took it and went on the fringe. I might be getting there. I don't know.
All of the people in this case ended up dead. That's how they justified those deaths. And after Charles was killed, Zulema and Melanie Gibb were texting with each other, and they were part of this little inner circle of Chad and Lori's. And Zulema was sharing with Melanie that Charles had been killed. And Melanie asked what happened, and Zulema said it was a Nephi and Laban ending. And this refers to...
Well, don't listen to Zulema. She's got the woo-woo. I got my suspicions about Zulema. No, don't. Y'all shouldn't have fucked with that girl. That's my opinion.
Page
What?
6 of the Book of Mormon, where
Yeah.
Nephi the prophet, they've had their religious record stolen from them by a
She brought a certain kind of woo-woo, kind of like Julie Rowe did, by the way,
wicked man.
or the people in the back.
And Nephi the prophet prays to God, and God says or sends an angel to say, basically, look, I've delivered this evil person into your hands. And Laban shows up and he's...
It's kind of like unpacking what them Odinisms really were about. Incorporating all that different stuff into their little brand of religion. Mm-hmm.
drunk.
But very different. Very different. Any of those that tried to tell y'all that Delphi is like this, they were doing it for their own benefit. Trust me, when they were suggesting playlists to go listen to about Delphi, it's a whole ass different thing. There ain't no LDS in the woods in Delphi, Indiana. Huh, Joe?
Passed out.
No.
And
Got the magic hands happening out there in robes and shit.
the angel commands Nephi to cut off Laban's head with his own sword and kill him, and put his clothes on, pretend to be him, and take the record back. So you have on page 6 of the Book of Mormon justifiable homicide. You have on page 6 of the Book of Mormon this idea that if the cause is great enough, it's okay to kill somebody, because it literally says it's better that one man should perish than that an entire nation should dwindle and perish in unbelief.
It's better for one man to perish than an entire nation. That sounds like that wolf in sheepskin. What is it? Am I saying that wrong? False prophets everywhere. Every religion's got a false prophet. There could be one. Never mind, that's a whole other subject. False prophets are everywhere. That part's true.
Without the
Yep.
religious record, in other words.
Yep. Oh my goodness. I used to have like a 1936 copy of the Book of Mormon that showed the changes over time, how the Book of Mormon has evolved. But that was
He used to have a book about how it's evolved over time. Well, I guess you got to study it, because they make you study it or
a
something.
while ago. That was a minute or two ago.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it is wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah, they're everywhere. I try to avoid them bitches. Like, I see you coming. I'm running the other direction.
So here we are now.
Yeah.
She's gonna represent herself in court.
Mm.
We're gonna start jury selection on March 31st. How do you think that's gonna go? Deep sigh, deep breath.
I actually, I was talking about her latest motion to have both of her cases dismissed on my channel, and I've sort of run out of ways to describe the way that I think this is going to go, because I try not to curse very much on my channel.
We don't. I try not to curse very much on my channel. Jesus might strike me dead or something.
Only when it's necessary, but I can't imagine this going well for anyone. Lori's delusional. She loves to put on a show. I think she's going to use it as an opportunity to preach her religious beliefs. I think she's going to use it as an opportunity to defame Charles.
An opportunity to preach. Huh.
To say he was cheating on her, to say all kinds of horrible things about her, to tell lies about whoever she needs to, so that she can maintain the impression that she has of herself, that she's an exalted being, and that nobody was unalived in this case. So I referred to her nickname when we were kids was Lolo, and so I started calling her Loco Lolo. And I asked my channel members in the comments to give me some other names, and I have a little list here. I'll share with you.
Yes, please.
Lori's Shenaniganry, Lori Gaga, Sarah Boone Clone, The Lori Comedy Show, Lori the Portal Ranger. I like that one. Mrs. Lower.
Lori the Portal Ranger? Y'all are like Trisha. You're making light of it, right? Y'all read, what's that? Loin fire? Was it loin fire? Some stupid shit? Good God, they're glorifying it. She's labeling. Well, wait. This is Megan. She does love her labels. She likes to name stuff and give it a label. It helps her compartmentalize.
Bing Ball, Just Nuts, Loco Lolo, Sad Toad's Wife, and D-Lolo instead of D-Lulu.
Because y'all can't cuss, right? You two Mormons can't cuss. I get it. A lot of folks don't cuss. I don't cuss around my daddy. It doesn't feel right. I don't cuss in front of my dad, but I cuss like my grandfather, but not in front of my daddy.
That's why I'm so far.
There's probably going to be a good habit.
See, Joe, I was raised right, by the way. I do know better. And I know how to ask Jesus to forgive me when I feel like I need it.
Dozen more by the time we get.
I don't want to wait till the day comes and I find out he's real.
I'm
through
sure.
the trial.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. I just think I think it's ridiculous and sad. What I would love to see is a dignified court for justice for Charles, but that's obviously not going to happen with Lori steering the ship. So,
Butterfly says, can they all just get sucked into the portal? You know what? We know what happened. Have y'all noticed something after Lori's trials were over and Lori went back to prison? Where's Megan's channel? Where's Joe's? Web Sleuth can barely make it through the night over there without her teeth falling out. Lauren, we know where Lauren lives in fantasy land out there. They fucked around and found out when it came to Lori Vallow. Joe made eye contact in court that day and got a little nervous. Like, legit asked me questions. Because he knows I'm spiritual. Yeah, dude, you just played with fire and you fucked around and found out. Don't come to calling me. Just saying. But I closed the portal once she got done with y'all. But y'all are trying to wake that dog up. I might let you. Fuck around and find out. Am I scaring you yet?
I don't really want to think about what it's going to be like, because already hearing her speak in court and
I could have just made all that up in my head, Megan. You don't know.
Already reading her motions where she has things underlined and exclamation marked, and it's just nuts. It's just nuts.
Yeah. I had a language expert read her last handwritten court submission.
God, you did, because you love that language expert, motherfucker. A lot of people do, and I can't with the language experts. My peoples know this. Body language, word language. You touched your face. You're lying. Let me get I need an analysis to break it down, because my empathic nature will not let me recognize bullshit myself. I got to have an expert point it out and break it all down for me.
And
he
said it's very childish.
Yes.
She's very childish.
Yeah, I think I was surprised to not see her.
The word analysis expert told him that Lori was just childish. That was the takeaway. She's just childish. That was the big takeaway from all that. Okay. Wow. They learned something that day. See, you can't do wrong with the experts. Y'all go watch them.
We're still dotting her I's with a heart like she did when we were kids.
Nuh-uh. Really, Megan? With a heart?
Because her handwriting is exactly the same as it was when we were kids. We used to write each other letters all the time.
Now she's a handwriting analysis too.
Yeah, she's already been sentenced to 3 life sentences in Idaho, so she has nothing to lose, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she's never going to see the light of day again, so anybody.
Y'all don't know Lori Vallow very well, do y'all? Her personality, her I don't give a fuck personality. Y'all, she's got nothing to lose. Huh? No, she really don't. That's besides the point. Did you watch those Idaho trials? No, I know you didn't, Joe. Well, we didn't get to watch it either. She bucked the system and got her way. But we got audio every night. We got footage here and yonder and sketches and shit. Good thing you weren't boots on the ground.
This is what I said on my channel the other day. If she had a single shred of remorse or guilt for what she's done, she would just plead guilty and be done with it, because it's not going to change the fact that she's going to stay in prison for the rest of her life. But this is her last opportunity.
Joe wasn't following the trial tours back in the day, y'all. He don't know shit.
To be in this.
dude, them trial tourists might know a thing or two. I don't know. I'm kind of confused as to who that is anymore. Am I a trial tourist because I'm streaming a trial on Monday? Does that qualify me as a trial tourist? Is that supposed to be a bad term or is it good anymore? I don't know.
Like, it's her last chance to, play a lawyer on TV. She's going to take it.
Right. And she stayed in a Holiday
It's more the Lori Vallow drama. Am I right?
Inn Express last night called the Maricopa County Jail.
Yeah.
Maricopa County Jail's pretty. Go watch Lockup, Joe. It's one of the worst in the fucking country. And I knew that when her ass got down there. I was like, oh shit, they sent her ass to Maricopa County. Hello, Lori Vallow. You about to start complaining.
Actually warms my heart a little bit to think her accommodations at the moment.
The Maricopa County Jail is actually very populated with a lot of unsavory characters.
No,
That's what I've heard. And
the jail has got a lot of unsavory characters and Megan's like, that's what I've heard. What y'all think jail is? Full of the good people? The wrongfully convicted? The innocent until proven guilty?
I've heard from people who are texting with her that she does not like Arizona and she wants to go back to Idaho. And
are the vent people comforting?
So I hope they keep her there for a good long time.
I guess we'll see. Okay, so the last segment of this, your website is called Third Verse. Tell me about Third Verse.
Well, I'm a recovering.
Can we do without the third verse? She's a recovering what? All this whole show and now
recovering musician. I've been a musician my whole life. And
recovering musician.
I thought of my childhood as my first verse and my marriage is my second verse. And this is my third verse. And I finally feel like I am the one writing it for the first time.
Aw. Her final verse. There might be a fourth one. Eventually, maybe. But she'll be a grandma one day. Or is she? I don't. Hey, wait. Did I hear a story about her being a grandma? Congrats, Migs.
That is amazing. That's amazing. All right. We've been on here for an hour. And you have.
Joe's like, I can barely last an hour on a live stream. We're all out here clocking fucking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. Joe was always like that. Well, we've been on here an hour. It's time to go. I don't know what else to say and do. I'm a little boring and I can't think of anything good to say. So we're going to wrap it up today.
Been so gracious to spend an hour with me. I appreciate it very much.
Oh, I've loved it. It's great. Thank you.
Thank God. All right, y'all. We took one for the team. We gave it analysis. We kept an open mind, maybe, and all that good stuff. Yeah, we had an open mind. So I feel like we did for review purposes, right? Reviewing. I was trying to figure out if Mormonism was anything to blame with Lori. That's what I'm going to call what we just did. Wink, wink. We were just trying to see if Mormonism really played a part in anything Lori was out there doing, because understanding Lori Vallow could be important in the future. It really could. If you think about it, we got women out here doing real harm to their own children, man, and none of us can understand it or wrap our heads around it, but we're willing to try to figure out how it got there if we can prevent it from happening again. We don't need more Loris running off to Hawaii in the name of Jesus and Ruths putting babies in the lake and husbands getting swallowed by fish. We don't need a complete failure and breakdown in the mental health system for a woman reaching out and crying for help who does not seem to receive the appropriate care needed at this stage, is what my gathering is. And Megan's out here acting like she got the answer to everything, and it's a little dangerous to me because she's incorporating all of her religious aspect stuff in with a lot of trauma that a lot of people already go through. So I don't know how much of that I can trust, because what is she incorporating with it, right? She didn't go to school to become a licensed therapist. Maybe Mormons sending you to weird therapists turned you off on licensed therapy. I don't know. But I don't know I just can't analyze her all the way yet. I know that she did not want to be seen or perceived as a Lori Vallow. She didn't want anybody to think she was anything like Lori Vallow, because she was trying to convince herself that she wasn't like Lori Vallow. And I think if you listen to her talk closely, she'll absolutely tell you that each and every time. She was trying to validate to herself that she wasn't like Lori Vallow, because she's elaborated more on her past in other places out here on these YouTube streets. And I don't enjoy being a bully, Trisha, or anybody out there wondering. It feels icky to sit there and do all that all the time. It kind of like, ugh, after a while. But sometimes stuff's got to be said and we just move on about our business, right? But Penny inspired me because she's unpacked to me, an important side of some of this. Well, the only important side, the manipulation tactics used in this space anymore. To gain viewership, to gain pick me syndrome, to gain watch me, validate me over that person kind of thing. It's odd. And Penny's good at picking out Megan's behaviors, right? So shout out to Dreadful Penny. I'm sure the mods had dropped her link in the chat earlier because she was in here. She may not be now. She's probably resting. If y'all can drop it again for people who may not have it, a lot of you do. Is Ping still out there? I didn't much. That guy was never on my radar to start with. Well, I heard about him and I went and watched one night and I was like, oh, okay, no, I'm good. Didn't understand what he was saying half the time and it was boring. And talked about stuff I didn't know. Cases I don't know. Then I heard some shit. I know he went on that one girl's show and tried to redeem himself about something. I don't know, got caught lying. Kind of like that one girl's show also was going to bring that 6 chick up to redeem Joe. What's up with that? That is kind of odd, though, if you ask me. Twice going to bring up 2 people to redeem themselves in that situation was weird, but okay. Was Summer Lori's sister? Yes, Summer Shiflett is Lori Vallow's sister. Melanice, you'll hear that name in this case, was Melanie, her Boudreaux, her niece. And what was that other chick's name? Melanie what? Melanie, what was her damn name? The friend, Melanie, what the fuck, I can't remember her name. That dude Ping might still live stream, y'all. I don't know what his channel name was. I can't look it up. What's his channel? Ping? Is it just Ping? just Ping. Hi. No, I don't look like him. I don't know what his channel is. He didn't come on Web Sleuth's Big Bash, though, did he? Come to think of it, he didn't, did he? I could have missed it. I didn't watch all of it. Jesus Christ, I ain't got the brain capacity for all that. I gotta protect my peace, man. I know when to protect my peace, Megan. I get it. Get it, girlfriend. I know when to pull back and step away and go outside and listen to the birds sing. My favorite thing to do. I just had an eagle flying across my screen. True You News, thank you, sent 400 jewels with some fly like an eagle to the sea. I like to let my spirit carry me. He drones on. Does Summer like Megan? No. I don't know many. Well, Joe does. You know, they've got that. They trauma bonded over being ex-Mormons. She was his safe place to land with all that. So which made it weird when he was the one unpacking all that with Kresha. But I didn't question any of that. Well, I don't know what they talked about offline and prepared for their shows. It was none of that, right? I just tuned in. He was hard. He was a hard watch, y'all. He was a hard watch. I ain't all that, but good Lord. Many family members say she lies like Lori. Who's Summer? Yeah, I never picked that girl apart. You know what I always did with Summer? Honestly, I didn't pay her much attention ever in this because she was just Lori Vallow's sister. She can't help who her sister is, right? Her telling me anything about Lori Vallow. I've seen her on like specials, you know what I mean? Like mainstream media specials that ever came out. If I ever watched them, I would see it. But I never put, I mean, I see a lot of families come out, like Dateline, got families all the time talking, right? So at some point, it's just another family member talking about something. But I know that she got active on social media and stuff. But I try, when that starts happening in cases, I see it, but I don't want to put too much stock into what these families are saying and doing to an extent because we don't know. You know, they could be just defending themselves, combating what the crap they're seeing on social media. And she's Lori's sister, so I really never paid that much attention. And I didn't pay Megan any attention until Joe was like, here's Megan Connor. She's great. Look at this. You know, I'm like, huh. Then I'm realizing she's doing all this extra stuff like healing journeys and teaching people to do things. And like, that's okay. And then I'm realizing, no, 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 this chick just came out here to make sure we all understood she wasn't like Lori Vallow. She can't come out here and build herself up on YouTube and build channels being known as Lori Vallow's cousin. Are you kidding? You're going to take a hit immediately because you're Lori Vallow's cousin. So she needs to come make sure we all understand she's empathetic. No, she's beyond empathetic. She's a fucking empath. That's a different thing. Right, Megan? Anyway, she's trying to sell a line of bullshit to a lot of people. And I think a lot of people may have fallen for it, well, obviously. I can't help the people who fall for stuff. You know, I don't know how to. I'm not trying to shout. I just try to share with us as a community. You know what I mean? I think together we can all learn what red flags are and what we can all share and look for. And like, yeah, that kind of seems off, kind of thing. You know, and know when families do get involved, handle them in a way that just let them be. Let Cresha be. Let Colby be. Can't hardly let Megan be because she's made it a point to insert herself and tell us how she feels about everybody else. How she feels about Colby, how she feels about Cresha, how she feels about Kay, and each and every one of us. It's a level of deception there that I can't miss. It's weird, y'all. Anyway, I've been kind of wanting to pick apart one of Joe's old things, and that was a good reason. That was a good one to do with him and Megan, right? I'm not going to go over there and analyze one damn thing Joe Schmo did with Cresha because the outcome would not be pretty. And I don't want to bring all that energy up here. I don't like the bad energy and the woo woo. It's not my thing. I like to be happy go lucky. I'm an air sign. Life's heavy enough. Damn, don't put extra shit on me. All right. It's getting late, guys. I'm kind of getting hungry. I don't work me up an appetite. Extraordinary claims don't require extraordinary evidence. They require basic evidence. Amen. Maury coming in with some knowledge. Faye, you're welcome, and thank you. You remember spitting your drink out when Zulema told Hermosillo and Ron that her brain was like an aquarium and everything was scattered up. She got the woo-woo in her head. Carolina, she got the woo-woo in her head. Yeah, there's something wrong with Zuzu, all right. She needs to get out her Florida water. Spritz, spritz. If you know, you know. Zuzu Lima. What you doing back there in the background with your witchery? I mean, your practices. Zulema. Huh? Julie, you coming in hot with your spiritual elevation and seeing beyond the veil? Did y'all see beyond the veil yet? What'd you see when you peeked over there? Oh, your other past lives you forgot you had. Sorry, my bad. Jesus Christ, I can't with this shit. Yeah, she's Delulu. Because if you in my opinion, only, and I may be disagreed with, and that's fine because I'm no expert. Unpacking Lori and Chad, there's a lot of layers that went into what that little group was doing and what they actually incorporated into what they already believed, right? Sent them into next level, if you ask me. Because we're talking portals and past lives and beyond the veil. Oh, no, no, no. That's not. Well, I don't know. Megan says they got past lives in Mormonism. So is the Mormon people incorporating, cult like shit from back? Like, see, it's a lot to unpack there, y'all. I just can't. I can't. We'll get headaches and stuff. And we don't like that. All right, guys, I'm going to go get some food and chill out, go sit out back, decompress for a little bit. I'm going to come back tomorrow at some point. Maybe do an evening stream, not like a late stream, but an evening stream and get caught up on where we sit going into trial and get a good breakdown on what we did or what happened over there at the preliminary hearing. Did they wrap it up on Friday? I didn't even check yesterday. If they got another day, see, I got to check on the details, guys. And so if any of y'all may have already got caught up on some of the vids coming down, the videos from the Brian Enton and various people covering it. But I'll get all my updates and we'll run through it, his trial or whatever. You don't believe, hell, look, Llama Pajama coming in. I don't believe that for 1 second the therapist cried because she broke up with her husband. Yeah. Poor therapist, though, was bringing her own trauma to the table because her parents got divorced, and by God, she wasn't going to let nobody else get divorced. She's going to go down there in therapy, all of them, to happily ever after, healing herself along the way. Damn it, man. I cannot. California Wings, you're welcome. All right, guys, y'all go have a great rest of your night. Don't let the woo-woo get you. Light a smudge stick and crack a window or something. Get the bad juju gone so the woo-woo doesn't get us. We don't like the woo-woo, Trisha. You wishing your woo-woo, trying to argue with Stacy about the woo-woo, if it was really fucking woo-woo or just the damn dog making a noise or your stomach rumbling. I don't know. Go drink some more beverage out of your cellophane cup. Hey, we could chip in, y'all, and get her one of those Stanley cups with the straw topper thingy on it. A cute one. A cute one. Who's got merch? Any of y'all got that on a merch with a little cute a cup with a straw topper thingy? Okay, just a thought. Maybe we shouldn't send her gifts after all. We could encourage her. It would encourage her. Hey, should we palate cleanse on our way out? Should we palate cleanse with a funny? Oh, which reminds me, I do got a funny. I didn't know what to make of it when I saw it. I was scrolling and saw it. And I thought, what has the algorithm come to? And I didn't know what. I laughed. I cannot help myself. I laughed. But is all this necessary? Do we need it? Am I really living in adult land? I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, people commented this was an amazing tribute, beautiful piece of compilation right here. I don't know if they did it for fun or if they did it for praise. Whoever did this, I don't know, but we'll watch it. Guys, hold on. We got to make sure we see this good. All right, here we go. Not promoting, I'm just sharing. Uh-oh, hold on. Let me fix one more thing. Hope I don't get in trouble for this. Like, they get mad if I play their stuff or something. I don't know who you are. I can't.
I picked up this old guitar beneath the evening sky. still searching for the answers to another unanswered why. This song is for Nancy, wherever she may be. Until the truth is found, I'll sing this melody.
Wonder what Nancy thinks about your coverage of her case and her daughter who took care of her all the time. I wonder what she thinks about it.
I hold on to compassion through every tear and prayer.
Oh,
Believing hope still shines whenever someone cares.
sing it, girlfriend.
No family should walk this road feeling all alone. Together we'll keep searching until she's safely home.
I study
God.
every pattern, every detail, every clue. Sometimes the smallest answers reveal another view. Patiently I follow where quiet evidence may lead, hoping every insight helps someone in need.
Oh my God.
I've learned the truth takes patience, and every clue has worth. Justice comes
shit.
from never giving up the search. One careful step, one question, one answer at a time. Keeping hope alive until the truth can shine. Nancy,
Oh God.
can you hear us?
Nancy, can you hear us? Chris McDonough didn't make this. Somebody else did, by the way. I need to put that out there, I guess.
We're singing through the night.
But it kind of captures him beautifully, if you ask me. His background singer. But we see you peeking, girlfriend, you journalist.
We'll keep believing, keep searching until truth comes into light. Nancy, you'll remember, you'll never walk alone. Different voices, one mission, different roads, one prayer. Together we'll keep searching, because the truth is there.
Oh my God.
Nancy, can you hear us?
Nancy, can you hear us? Like, God, I'm glad they didn't make this themselves. But Jesus, the people that, I don't know the person that made it, so I have no, they got other songs they made about other people. So I can't tell if this is like a parody, like, or if they're like supporting them. I don't know for sure.
This song
Creepy doctor.
is meant for you. We'll keep believing every sunrise brings us closer to the truth. Nancy, you'll remember,
This is crazy.
you'll never walk alone. For Nancy, and for everyone still searching.
Ugh. That's who made this video, Faithful Servant. They got a couple about the Love Boat with JLR and then Ted and all them. I'm like, I what in the world? Because when that video came across my feed, I'm like, who is this, right? What is this? And I went and looked. They got other stuff, but they had a couple other songs with JLR in them. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Can't tell if it's homage or a parody, right? But if y'all have watched any of the interviews room's coverage on the Nancy Guthrie case, you know, they're here for victims as well, while trashing the victim's family at the same time. But they know more than we do. They're cops. So it's okay. It's okay for Chris McDonough to go on panel and say, we're just, Karen, we're just asking questions, right? So it's okay for them to do that because they're retired cops and journalists. So they get to ask questions, including, did Annie Guthrie kill her mother or abduct her own mother, right? It's okay for them to do it. But if I did it, by God, shame on me. Shame on me. Anyway, really wasn't a palate cleanser. It was kind of like, what the fuck was that shit, right? Sorry, I got that confused. I don't have my producer went AWOL, y'all. All right, because they did, we're going to go. Y'all go have a good one. Don't forget, please be safe on these YouTube streets. My God. Yeah, be safe out there, guys.
Thank you all for watching this here video.